Welcome to Paranormal Central, broadcasting live from Central California with your hosts Jeffrey Gonzalez and Alan Thomas. Broadcasting video worldwide at ParanormalCentral.net and broadcasting audio on the Dark Matter Network at ArtBell.com. Are you ready to witness something that you cannot explain?
I'm looking for you, you're looking for me. We have to decide what it will be. Can it be true? Can I believe the unexplained?
Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Paranormal Central, broadcasting live from Central California. My name is Jeffrey Gonzalez. I am your host for the show. Welcome everybody. To my right, to your left, co-host Alan Thomas.
Hi everyone.
And womaning the boards behind the scene in the dark shadows, Emerald Bonilla.
Hi guys.
Welcome everybody. Thanks for showing up wherever you may be around the world, Brazil, Mexico, Japan, China. We have fans all over the place, and I appreciate that. You would not believe how much I do. Tonight we're going to have a show where I plan to scare the you-know-what out of you from going camping. That's going to be my intention. David Paulides, Missing 411, the show that we have been waiting for a long time. I had him on about 2 or 3 years ago, and I think that was one show that I can never possibly ever reproduce, because it was a 3-hour show, and it was a great show, and I will tell you more about that show and where you can see it after we talk to David Paulides tonight. He has written now 4 books about missing people around the world, I think, actually, and mostly here in the United States and Canada and Alaska. And you won't believe how many people go missing and where and why. Well, not actually why, but the circumstances, the evidence that we're going to show you, not evidence, but facts on how all these people are going missing. And you guys are going to totally trip out like I did 3 years ago when I interviewed him. So sit right back, and if you have people who like to go camping, who like to go hunting up in the mountains, and I'm talking anywhere in the United States, mountains, then you better have them watch this show now. And so it's going to be a good show tonight. So if you are watching us at ParanormalCentral.net, you are looking at us right now. We're going to be doing the Squatch report here pretty quick, and I'm going to be showing you some pictures, and you can go in and watch them on the screen. If you are listening to us at Dark Matter Network at the ArtBell.com website, yep, you heard me right, ArtBell.com is carrying our show worldwide on the Dark Matter Network. We have the photos that we're going to be showing you there on the homepage where it says Paranormal Central, so you can go ahead and follow us there if you want, and you won't miss out, I guarantee it. So let's go ahead and pull up the Geekmeister, Mr. Bigfoot Investigator, Know-It-All, Mr. Hairy Monster himself, Danny Valderrama.
Hello.
Hey, Danny.
What's going on, Mr. Danny?
How are you guys doing?
It's got the long time that we've seen you, right?
Yeah, about, 24 hours?
24 hours ago? Yeah. We went to the mountains last night. We went Bigfooting.
You went again, and you didn't take me.
It was dead.
I don't care.
It was dead. Trust me.
It was literally cricket.
Don't take me nowhere.
No, trust me. It was dead. So, all right, Danny Valderrama is going to be giving us a Squatch report for September the 7th, 2014. And let me get to the screen here and pop on the photographs that he sent me. And I'm going to be putting up right now photograph number 1. Do it.
Yeah, the photograph number 1 comes from right here in town. Fresno Yosemite International Airport. I was there dropping off my wife, who was going out of town for a business conference, and we went into the gift shop, and there he was. Bigfoot was staring right at me, and there was about I think it was possibly more than 6 shelves of Bigfoot merchandise.
Wow. I'm going to stop you right there. What airport in the United States or in the world has Bigfoot stuff like this?
None that I've seen.
None.
I've been
I
to a
mean,
lot of
I'm going to
airports.
say we are probably the only airport in the world who carries Bigfoot stuff. I wonder why they are carrying Bigfoot stuff.
And we have probably the smallest airport, too.
Yeah.
So people think about this: Yosemite, Kings Canyon, the Sierras, finding Bigfoot, Destination America, Monsters and Mysteries. I think they understand where the Bigfoot is, just east of Fresno, and that's why they're going to try to make some money on it, man. I mean, who isn't, right?
Pretty cool.
I mean,
There's many shelves there. I couldn't believe it. There's 3 kiosks, and each one, as you walked around it, had Bigfoot merchandise, mugs, dolls, all kinds of stuff.
I'm putting up the second photograph right now that have that big plush Bigfoot. I am going to go buy that. I mean, that is so cool. I mean, come on. How much was that? $20 you said?
$20, yeah.
20. I mean, come on. You can't beat $20 for that large Bigfoot. That is so cool. I
The
mean,
more we buy, the more they'll have. So
yes.
I feel jilted because I was in there and they had like 3 coffee cups and a couple little shot glasses.
Right.
And I asked the girl, are they going to get any more? And she said no. So then I bought everything they had, right? And then you come along and show pictures of like 6 kiosks full of stuff.
I mean, this is cool stuff. I mean, come on, people. Everybody who lives in Fresno, California, show your support. Go to the Fresno airport, go to the store, and buy some of this stuff. I mean, come on.
Like flying from Florida.
This is crazy. I mean, I'm serious. It's like Bigfoot in an international airport. That's just...
You don't even have to go through security to buy it.
No, you don't. No, you don't. I mean, yeah. I mean, you can just walk. Obviously, you have to find a parking space and pay for it. Probably cost you maybe $2.50 for the first 15 minutes or 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But then you walk in, go straight to the store, and boom.
I could save you $2. I got
Handicap.
parking.
So I am going, and you know what? I work at the airport a lot, and it's just the last time I went, I didn't see this. So this
Underground?
is yeah, underground. Shh. No, the store, and I didn't see any of this stuff because it wasn't there. But now, I mean, this is really, really cool. So awesome. So yes, we are known out there. We are making money for people, and we're not making any money as of yet. What the heck is wrong with this? I mean, this scene here. I mean, we got to change that. Oh my God. Okay, now picture number 3.
Yeah, picture number 3. Story number 2 has one picture.
Okay.
From the IFL Science page.
Huh?
That's dated from September 4th, 2014.
Oh wait, I got the soap up. That's not it.
No. It's,
why you send me the pictures in different? Okay.
Guys walking in the snow? No.
Where's that son of a gun? Are you kidding me?
Our Bill got it right.
Yeah, our Bell got it right. Keith is better than me. What can I say? You know what? I don't see it here. Doggone it.
Okay.
Go to
Well,
our Bell.
anyways, these guys
Is it
have found a
listed?
way to extract DNA from footprints. So just when we thought we got everything we could out of the footprints, comes word from these scientists in the Arctic, and an Arctic expedition, that they've isolated polar bear DNA from frozen skin cells left in the tracks in the snow. So they what they did was they collected snow around 10 different paw prints in the snow there, and then they melted it down.
Wow.
They used filters to identify genetic material from cells left in the meltwater. And then from there they amplified the DNA.
That's crazy.
It was the first time they were able to extract DNA from a polar bear footprint.
Right.
They also found in their DNA from a seal and a seagull. And from there they were able to track the story of the footprints there, because there was a little bit of blood in the polar bear's prints. So it told them that the polar bear had just killed a seal.
Wow.
And there was a seagull that came by to start picking at the leftovers. So they were able to tell all that from just the tracks on the snow.
Track in the snow. Is that incredible or what?
Remember, Mickey was telling us that you could just take your breath and go, just
the touch
and
DNA.
they could get DNA just from that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. So these scientists are saying just a single cell would be enough to get molecular markers that will allow them to identify each individual bear. And what they're hoping is that you can get the same thing from muddy footprints. They're going to try it next with try to find some muddy footprints of any type of animal and see if we can get DNA cells out of that. But it's working right now in the snow because DNA breaks down slower in the cold than in tropical weather.
Got it.
So hopefully that'll work out.
Yeah. Wow. That's very cool. So, all right. What is next?
Next is the soap.
The soap.
The soap.
All right. Got it.
It's a pretty cool item I found. It's from drsquatch.com. And these guys have been operating since 2012. It's 3 guys, and they're from Friday Harbor, Washington, which is on the San Juan Islands in North Washington. And the Dr. Squatch soap company started with the idea to create a simple, natural, and manly soap. They believe the Sasquatch is the perfect embodiment of this spirit.
So you can smell
So
like a
with that in mind, they
skunky.
created a soap bar with simple ingredients from Mother Earth. They go to the store and they read all these ingredients in the soap, and they couldn't pronounce them. So they wanted something that everybody could pronounce.
So you're
They're
gonna
homegrown.
So you're gonna smell like the forest.
Yeah. Well, I'll let you know that in a second.
Oh, sorry. I'm jumping.
They're a homegrown company, and they just like a Sasquatch. They believe in living free, simple, and natural life. Their soap is made with all natural ingredients that you can pronounce, and they all come together to clean, nourish, and rejuvenate the largest organ in your body, your skin. So they mix the ingredients in their soap. They let it cure for 6 weeks, and then they cut it all by hand. And the soap that they have comes in 8 different fragrances. So you can get pine tar, gold moss scrub, cedar citrus, bay rum, spearmint basil scrub, cool fresh aloe, eucalyptus Greek yogurt, or the deep sea goat's milk. So 8 different fragrances for you to try. Most of them smell like the wilderness out there.
Then you know what? I'm telling you right now, for those Bigfoot Bigfoot investigators who are listening to this show, I think a lot of problems people have when they're up looking for Bigfoot is they smell perfumey. They have those colognes on, and Bigfoots, just like any other animal in the wild, have a sense of smell. So if you were to take a shower using the forest smell, you know what I'm saying? I think,
Blend right in.
you'll blend right in. Absolutely.
Yeah, these bars of soap are $6 a piece.
Oh, you might get
Go to the
eaten
next
though.
picture.
You walk around with goat milk.
Now the goat
smell.
milk you don't want to put on when you're looking.
You'd turn around and have every cat in the land following you.
Be running.
Yeah. That's not a good thing. I don't know why you would want to smell like goats.
Yeah, or
There's
yogurt.
4 pictures.
You know how many bears could smell you from 50 miles smelling like a yogurt? Man.
Okay, now we have the deep sea, deep sea goat milk. Dude, you weren't kidding. There it is. Deep sea goat milk. Oh, I thought you were goofing around with it. Dude, that's funny.
No, they have
hey.
416 reviews, and they're all positive. Everybody loves this stuff.
Deep sea.
The bars
Okay,
of soap are $6 a piece.
tell me, what does deep sea goat milk smell like?
I have no idea.
I couldn't tell you that. For $6 you can find out.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Why don't you? If it's all good, reviews, then you're in contact with them. Tell them to bring some in or send them to you, and we will try it. We will actually put it on. I mean, put them on.
We'll
Take
go in
a
the
shower.
woods with it on, man. I will.
So,
You can also get a gift box.
You know what?
They have
Well, tell them. Tell that I know you communicated with them. Tell them to send you, and if they are listening to us right now, get a hold of Danny Valderrama. Send him some gift boxes, a couple of them,
goat milk.
and literally, I will take a shower using just before we go to Bigfoot hunting, investigating.
Needs to.
I will take a shower like I always do, but I will use the forest smell, the evergreen, whatever that is. Because I'm serious. You don't want to go up there smelling with perfume if you really want to get some action. No, you don't want to do that.
Wait, man. When we were kids, we were taught to like rub, like there's these leaves, manzanita and stuff like that.
Right.
And you grab it and squish it up and then rub it all over you, and it takes your smell away from you. You smell like a forest.
Or you can roll around and poop like Smeha did.
Yeah, he was even eating it.
Oh,
like,
God.
oh man, your breath stinks, right? It's like it's really gonna stink in a minute.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they also have a gift box that has 4 different the most popular soaps in it, and that's $30. If you go onto their site, it says it's sold out, but they assured me that they do have them back in stock as of this weekend, so you can go ahead and order it.
Okay.
And if you're still not sure what kind of soap that you want, there is a quiz there that'll ask you about 6 questions. At the end of the quiz, it'll tell you what soap is for you based on your answers. And
you know what we got to do?
They also have a different is a soapscription.
A subscription.
I
Boom,
can't
boom,
wait.
boom. You know what? We need the next time you're in the airport, take a picture of this to have them order some of this and put it with the Bigfoot stuff.
I'm on my way there actually. About a half an hour.
Oh, there you go. And print out a couple of pictures or put them on your iPhone and say, hey, that way when people...
They actually do. If you go onto their site, they actually do. If you they're looking for people to sell their item in their stores.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, so they're actually looking for people to sell it
Maybe
in
we
their
could sell
stores.
it on our website.
Right now, it's mainly sold online, but they have it at Urban Outfitters, the Space Needle, a place called the Grooming Lounge, and you can contact them if you want. If you own a store and you want to contact them, drsquatch.com. You can get their product in your store too.
I really want to see what that deep sea goat milk smelled like.
Yeah, so you can the subscription. You can either order 1 bar, 2 bars, or 3 bars, and a month. And it's the 3 bars. You can pay $12 a month, and they send them to you. They send 3 bars a month to you, and you can either choose them or they'll choose them for you. But the pine tar one is selling really good. The pine tar one, I think, is the one that everybody's talking about.
And that one I can see actually using before you go up there. It smell like pine cones.
Yeah. So this is for the Bigfooter.
You don't like
anybody
that?
who has a Bigfooter in their life.
Yeah.
They
No,
already smell like the forest, so that might as well make them clean too.
absolutely.
Pine tar. It sounds like something you'd never get off. Like, man, look, I got the pine tar. Your hair's all stuck and everything.
No, you know what? If you're listening, Dr. Squatch, notify David Valderrama and get us some.
Or Danny.
Or I'm sorry, Danny. and we'll try some. We'll check it out. So, all right. What's next?
Story number 4.
Push
3 pictures.
3 pictures. All right.
Oh,
This broke on Monday, September 1st,
I was reading about
on the
this.
Sasquatch Hunter page. It's from Stacy Brown. Stacy Brown Jr., if you remember him, he was the winner of the $10 million Bigfoot bounty that was on TV. He didn't win the $10 million, but he did have the most evidence, so he did win something. I can't remember the dollar amount that he won. But it wasn't $10 million.
It was like $100,000.
Wow.
But this broke last Sunday that just after our show ended, that he announced that he was in possession of a arm, and that's the picture that's on there. They found it in the woods out in Florida, in one of his favorite hot spots, and they took it to the Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, and they confirmed that it was not from a bear or a human. So they were going to take it to get analyzed, see what was going on. And he also says there are no bears or monkeys in that area of Florida. So they weren't sure what it was. They said the people told them that it was an unknown primate arm. So he put it on Facebook, see if anybody could identify it. And if you go to the next picture, it's a picture without the dirt behind it. It's You can see the length on it. So it was sent out for testing, and they're hoping it's the arm of a skunk ape. And
so how are they going to know it's a skunk ape? It's got to come back part ape then, right?
Yeah.
But not
so yeah, it's got to be
Or
primate.
unknown type of ape.
Yeah. It's kind of small.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
They're saying somebody told them it looked like an orangutan arm, and there was a report of a orangutan that was loose out there, but they don't know if it was the same area that he found it in.
Oh, okay.
But in the area that they did find it in, there has been Bigfoot activity, and in April they did find a trackway through that whole area. So they're hoping that
I'm looking at it, and is that supposed to be the knee? The middle part?
it's supposed to be the arm.
Oh, that's the arm.
The elbow, and the hand at the bottom.
Okay,
Yeah.
so, and that's a ruler right there. So what are we looking at, 17 inches?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not that
pretty
long.
Well,
Now they did announce that there would be a press conference today around 3:30 on one of the other shows, and what I just found out right now a few minutes ago, just before it came on, is that they did identify it.
they did?
They did, and I guess Disotel from the $10 million Bigfoot bounty ran a bunch of tests on it over the week.
Uh-huh.
So he and Stacy Brown Jr. announced on this radio show that it was a gator arm, and possibly a hind leg. Yeah.
Boy, they sure ran this and just milked the heck out of this, didn't they? I mean, it was all over the place. It sure was.
It was everywhere.
Yeah, it was. Well, there you go. An
It
alligator.
turns out to be a gator arm.
So maybe a skunk ape
Wah,
ate a
wah,
gator.
wah.
You know, it's like when we go out up to the hills and we find deer legs twisted off. Right? We don't find the deer. We find anything of the deer, just a twisted off deer leg.
Right.
So maybe I think the Bigfoot keeps the twisted off so the deer can't run away. Maybe he twisted the leg off the gator so it couldn't run away. And then dragged him off later and ate him back, took him back home to his family.
Now,
Yes, but they are finding evidence out there in that area, so
right.
anything's possible.
Anything is possible. So, all right, right on. What else there, Mr.
All right.
Danny? Is that it? I know you're going to keep it
That's
short
it.
this week because we have a very special guest coming on here pretty
Yeah.
quick. So, all right, Danny. Thank you very much, and we will talk to you next week.
Bye,
Let me know what the airport says tonight if you do talk to him.
Okay.
Okay. All right, dude. See ya.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Sorry. So, all right, right on. All right. Gator arm. I never thought about. I was thinking maybe a monkey because I know there's supposedly in the swamps out there there's like loose monkeys and stuff like that. So that's what my guess was going to be. But
I was thinking it might have been some kind of sloth, because they have those over there too.
Do they? So right on.
But wasn't sure.
Okay, we are going to be contacting now David Paulides. Here we go, people. You guys ready for this? Are you guys ready? David?
This is me.
Right on, dude. How's it going?
Going great.
All
Hi,
right.
David.
Woo! We are happy that you are on. We are excited.
Yes.
And a lot of people have been bugging the crap out of us to get you on for so long, and now we finally... I mean, I was going to have you on again, but we were going to wait for this last book to come out so that way we can get you on. So man, you are busy, aren't you?
Yeah, it's been a busy few years.
Wow. You've been scaring a lot of people, dude.
Not the intention.
No.
To educate.
Yes, and that's what the whole idea is because, you're tripping people out. The stuff that you're putting out in these books are pretty much just fact after fact after fact, and you're not making this stuff up, and they're going, what is going on here? And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. This is... When I had you on, 4 years ago, we had a 3-hour-long conversation, and we talked about a lot of good stuff. But the stuff now that you have in the last couple of books you're going into great detail, and that's what I want to get into tonight. So Missing 411, The Devil in the Detail. Great
I love
title.
that title.
Great title.
It's good.
All right, let's see. Where do we start? Because I have a lot of questions. All right, tell us about this fourth book that you just put out.
It's more of an evolution. If people haven't heard about it, it started off about 5 years ago when we got some recommendations from some National Park Service rangers that there was a series of disappearances in parks that they had worked at, and at that front end, there had been a lot of publicity, but then after 7 to 10 days, it tapers off quickly, and then you don't hear about the case anymore.
Right.
And they thought somebody ought to be looking into it, and they thought that there were an abnormal number of disappearances in the parks, especially in certain locations where they didn't think people should be going missing, and they were. So we started to look into it, and at the beginning, you start to read, 1,000, 2,000 reports, things start to come out that maybe if you read only 100, you wouldn't recognize. But now we're up to over 4,000 reports in 5 years, and certain things are starting to come to the surface that maybe we didn't recognize at the beginning. And so during that evolution of writing and researching and everyone in the team helping out and people all over the world reading the books, there's certain things that have come out that we never even thought of looking into. And as an example, a guy in Finland sent us in this giant letter that showed that there was a correlation between the people that we had mentioned in the books and planes that have disappeared in the Bermuda Triangle. And the idea that we would ever even look into that never came to our mind. But the statistical analysis shows that during the years that planes have been flying, the odds that we would have a number of cases of people disappearing on those same dates doesn't seem logical, but it's fact.
Wow. Okay. Let's talk about.
Weird.
Yeah, that is weird. All right, let's talk about. Okay, I actually, if you can see, I posted the crap out of your book, dude. So, and I got. All right, I chose some certain cases in this fourth book. All right, and I want to talk about those cases. The first case is Robert Willis. Now, we were just talking about that dude 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Okay, I had a friend at the ballpark. He runs the baseball, the minor, the summer program, and I was telling him about missing people and all that. And he goes, "Man, our carpenter friend from the union, his name is Robert Willis. He's the deer hunter. He goes up every year and he goes hunting by himself. And one day he didn't come back." And I said, "Really?" And then Elizabeth Martinez, who knows the family, was telling us that they go up there still to go look for him, dude.
Yeah, look for him.
They're still looking for him, his family. So let's talk about Robert Willis. Describe this guy to everybody. I mean, this guy is a veteran, right? A veteran of what he does.
Yeah, no, he's a long-term hunter, outdoorsman, a rugged guy, very secure in himself and going out in the outdoors alone. He went into an area called the Dinky Creek Wilderness, just south of Shaver Lake, an area that he had gone to many, many times in the past. And he left home on October 30th, 2008. He was supposed to return the next day. And on November 3rd, he was eventually reported missing at about 5:45 a.m. And at that point, it had already started to rain and snow in the area. As soon as there was a break in the weather, the sheriff put up a couple helicopters, dogs, people on horseback went in. And this is in between Yosemite and Sequoia National Park. It's in between two national parks. And it's in an area between these two parks where I've documented many people that have gone missing and have never been found. And he took a rifle and a handgun with him. They found his 2000 Nissan Frontier pickup, and they found most of his supplies in the pickup, indicating that he was coming back to that car. He wasn't going to spend the night out in the middle of nowhere. He was on Forest Service Road 10S31, kind of in an area everyone expected him to be. And what I tell people about this incident and hundreds of others is that this is a prime example why you never go out alone.
Oh, David, I actually yelled at everybody on my audience last week or 2
yeah,
weeks
it was
ago.
close.
Literally, I
Close
was
last
yelling at everybody to knock it off. Don't do it. That's it. Stop going by yourself, hiking or hunting. And well, continue on. I mean, I was ticked, David. I was ticked off. Go ahead.
So one of the things that we recommend to people, if you have to go out by yourself, is you carry a firearm and you carry a personal locator transponder. And those two things together, out of 4,000 cases, we've never found a case where people that had both items disappeared. A lot of people with firearms and hunters, a lot of them disappear. There's only been one case where a person was carrying a transponder and disappeared. That person was right on the outskirts of Yosemite. They found him at the bottom of a cliff in a crag, and that's how they located him, because his transponder apparently went off when it hit the rocks.
Wow.
Now, that case was in the books because it was so odd what happened. I won't go into that. But if you're going to go out alone, carry a gun and carry a transponder. Transponders cost about $200, $300. If you're going to go out a lot in the woods, carry one. What happens is that they send off a signal to a satellite that goes to National Oceanographic and Administration personnel, sends a signal that you're in distress, and they can locate you within 10 to 20 feet from where that transponder is. I can't explain why the transponder and the gun together mean anything. I can only give you the facts as we know them, that people haven't disappeared together like that. Now, Robert, to this day, still hasn't been found.
Right.
But, I don't want to focus just on his case, because there's probably 100 others I've written about that are identical to this, where the guy's never been found, and he was quite adept at the outdoors.
Right.
Like
Exactly.
my teacher, the one in the first book.
Yeah. What's his name?
James Arthur.
James Arthur. He was in the 144th Fighter Squad.
Yeah.
In military.
That shocked me when I turned
Yeah.
the page and there's my teacher.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Whoa.
Okay, and that's what I want to talk about that later on. So
wait, like on the name of the book now, before we get in all the stories.
Right.
The devil's in the details. I mean that's like the first thing you see.
Yeah. Now
That
Alan
is so cool.
Alan
but
is.
I want to know why.
Alan is
the devil's
part Cherokee. Okay, he's quarter. So let's talk about the names really quick. Obviously, with you investigating more of the cases, then you started to realize, wait a minute, the name of this canyon is what? Devil Canyon. The name of this area is Devil, and then Devil this, Devil that. Let's talk about that a little bit. Now, I don't know, but who names these particular parks or canyons with the word devil? How did that get their name, David?
Well, that's $1 million question, and all three of us together could spend the next 20 years trying to figure that out. And there are no easy answers to that. But common sense would tell you that an area gets a name for a reason.
Yes, exactly.
Now, what that reason is for those specific names, we really don't know, because it's impossible to try to figure that out.
Right. So, Native Americans could have named that area, right? Like you're saying, we're just thinking out of the box. How did they get their names with the devil in it? Obviously, it was named for a reason. Bad devil. When you say devil, it's bad.
A lot of them go way back, like legends. Like hundreds of years. That was what that was known for. And then it just gets on the map because that's what everybody calls it.
Everybody calls it.
Yeah.
So when you say devil, you're saying bad place. Very, very bad place.
Yeah, don't go there.
Don't go there. Okay. All right. There's a couple of cases that I wanted to talk about here around us. And the next one was George Benka. I believe his last name is spelled.
Oh, Penka.
Penka. Yeah. That I just blows me away. Go for it. Tell us about this one.
A lot of people have keyed on this case because George was with a religious group from his hometown in Southern California that went into Yosemite as a group, and they decided that they were going to hike around the area. George was a big guy. He probably wasn't a long-distance runner. He looked like he was a pretty sedentary guy just from his appearance. But on June 17th, 2011, the group decided that they were going to hike up to Upper Yosemite Falls via the Upper Falls Trail. And they made it to the top, and they hung around there for quite a while. And at 2:30, the group decided they were going to head back to the cars from the top of the falls. And George was in the back of the pack as they started to come down the trail. Now, for the people who don't know, this is a big trail. It's very, very heavily used. There's a lot of people on it. And after my last book came out, a guy named Roger Marsh in the Huffington Post wrote an article, and the title of it was called "Don't Be Last in Line." And the title could be "Don't Be Last in Line" and "Don't Be First in Line."
Wow.
And the reason he wrote that is that there were a series of stories in my book before this, Missing 411, North America and Beyond, where I described the person being last in line would disappear.
Wow.
And it doesn't make any logical sense per se, but everyone would walk to the bottom of the trail wherever they were, and that person that was last in line, or first in line that took out in front of everybody, they wouldn't be there in many instances. And sometimes they were never found. In Penka's case, we filed a Freedom of Information Act request on Yosemite. And you got to remember that I probably filed 100 on the National Park Service in 5 years. And as long as I name the person that I'm looking at, the date they went missing, and the location, if it was a missing person, I usually got the case. In this incident, they told me I wouldn't get the case on Penka.
Really?
And I went back at them and I said, well, is this a criminal case? They said, no. So it's just a missing person case? Yes. And there's no suspects? No. Well, why wouldn't you let me have the case? And they said, you're not going to get it. Now, Yosemite's done this before, and Yosemite, just so people know, it's the largest cluster of missing people anywhere in the world that we've researched. We have 52 clusters of missing people. Yosemite's the largest. And somebody at Yosemite is starting to pay attention because they're stopping and giving us any cooperation at all. And in this incident, when George disappeared, there was a huge search. They never found hide nor hair of George. And obviously the church group was distraught, his family's distraught. Well, where can you go on this big trail?
Wow. I mean, think you're taking a little trip, to Yosemite, thinking you're going to come back, and all of a sudden, your daughter or your son is missing, and they don't know what happened to him. Like you said, Yosemite, there are literally thousands of people up there every single day, and especially this particular path. How can somebody simply disappear from the back of the line? I don't know.
Even if he fell off, like I lived in Yosemite for a while, and I watched a guy fall off that trail and then fall through the falls. Saw his red jacket go.
Okay.
So I mean, even if he fell, there's people on the ground looking at the falls,
right,
that would see him. Even though nobody on the trail might have saw him, there's other people admiring the falls that would have saw him.
This is crazy.
Like we did.
This is crazy. So obviously, no body ever found. That is sad. That's absolutely sad and scary at the same time. Because I was telling people, don't go by yourselves.
Right.
Don't ever go by yourself ever again up to the Sierras, just east of Fresno. But now we're telling people, don't be the last in line, because this is crazy, David. I don't understand.
Don't let your kids wander off out of your sight.
Yeah,
we're telling everybody that.
Absolutely crazy. Okay, now, any more information? Did they come up with any clothing or anything on him, George?
So it's been over 3 years. There's nothing. And one of the things I think that's important to understand, you guys almost touched on it there, is that if he would have fallen somewhere, or if he would walk behind a rock because he was sick, passed out, and died, I guarantee they would have found his body by now, because through decomposition, the odor would have been overwhelming on that trail. They would have found him.
Yeah. I think you're absolutely right. So let's think about this. Okay, you're walking down a trail, and there's other people in front of you. Can a bear come out of nowhere and take you and just run with you? No. All right? Could a mountain lion do the same thing? No. Could a person come by and snag you from the end of the line and take you away? No, because George would have been kicking and screaming and yelling, right?
Correct.
So how could somebody, maybe 200 pounds, 225 pounds, simply poof? That is, okay, well, right now what I want to do is I want to make people think. All right, you guys, this is what we're giving you guys are facts on how these people are going missing. Now, you guys are going to try to find out how these guys go missing, and we're going to give you some more cases. All right, now, a couple of months ago, firefighter, Southern California, Mr. Herdman, right?
Oh, yes.
Yep. You were on a radio station that was being broadcast on the Dark Matter Network, and you basically told that the host of the show how they were going to find him. Why don't you tell us about that story?
So Mike Herdman, kind of the all-American boy, 36 years old, married with a daughter. He was an Arcadia firefighter paramedic, and he and another firefighter paramedic on about June 11th, they went backpacking in Los Padres National Forest in Ventura County. And Mike brought his dog, Duke, with him, and they had a scheduled 4-day trip into the Sespe Wilderness. And if you do a Google search on Sespe Wilderness, S-E-S-P-E, you're going to find that there's a lot of areas back there that have the name Devil in them. And I did some research on the area after all this started to happen, and the facts just started to roll onto me. So he and a paramedic named Taylor Byers, they backpacked into the area a day and a half. They were set up along a creek, and it was getting to be nighttime on the 13th. And Duke, Mike's dog, took off running away from the campsite. And Mike had on a pair of shorts and a tank top, no shoes, nothing else, and he took off running after his dog. Now, for people who haven't read my books, one of the things that we found is that a lot of people, when they are found after they disappear, are missing clothing and missing shoes. And when I heard that he ran off without shoes and he didn't come back right away, we all started to key on this case. Because he was a trained survivalist and an outdoorsman, and he had been to this area many times before. So they started a search for him, and they searched for a week and a half. And they flew the same route into this area every day by helicopter. They put a drone in the air with FLIR, forward-looking infrared radar, looking for body heat. They put canines into the valley looking for a body. They had horse-mounted units come in. They had almost a dozen different firefighter organizations and search and rescue groups in that region looking for him. And they had made a determination on where was the high probability areas that he would be, and they assumed at the beginning that he had to have been hurt, otherwise he would have responded for their calls of help. And 2 weeks after he disappears, a helicopter, it was on June 27th, disappeared on June 13th, is flying that same route, and they see something at the bottom of a cliff, about a mile from where he disappeared. They put a searcher down onto the location, and they find his body there, dead. Now, on the 26th, I was on a show, and we were going over the same facts I just explained to you. And I said, based on everything that's put forth right here, my guess, educated guess is he's going to be found at the bottom of a cliff. He's going to be deceased. He's going to be in an area where they probably flew over before, and they didn't see him, or he wasn't there, and they're going to find him, and they're going to determine the cause of death is catastrophic injury at some level. And they did.
Yep. So had they come to question you because you know so much about this? Because it's exactly like a lot of these cases that you have in your books. They're finding them at the bottom of a cliff. Sometimes they're covered in bushes, right?
Right.
And places where they've already checked before many times. And all of a sudden they're coming back and, whoa, there he is. But wait a minute, we've been through here many times. Explain that one to me.
Well, that's something you can't overlook. And I have never, ever pointed a finger at search and rescue and said, they're not diligent, they didn't do their job. Exactly the opposite. Because if canines are coming in and they aren't picking up a scent, if drones are flying over and they're not picking up a heat signature, then and they're doing grid searches area by area, you can't tell me that all three of those factors are failing.
Right.
As many times as we've documented in the books, maybe once or twice, maybe 3 times, but over 100, 200 times, I don't believe it.
Right. So they are literally disappearing and then all of a sudden reappearing. That's paranormal. I mean, I'm just calling right now, that's not normal, man. I mean, we're talking stuff you see on TV, David. All right? That's what we're looking at here. The facts are facts. You can't get around by saying, well, they didn't check that area thoroughly, which is bullcrap. So how do you not? How did the body get there from not being there a couple days ago?
I can't believe that they haven't offered him a TV deal. This stuff will make great TV.
Man, okay.
I mean, every week he could have like 2 or 3 cases. He could go on for seasons.
You know what? I can tell you right now that we're talking government national parks. They're trying to keep this information away from the public. And we'll get into that in a little bit later. So that was a firefighter. And David, that they probably spent no expense looking for him because he was one of their own. So they probably had spent literally hundreds and thousands of dollars worth of bodies and equipment out there trying to find him.
Well, and by example, they were still flying a search and rescue mission for him 2 weeks after he disappeared,
wow.
Which is essentially unheard of. Most searches and rescues go anywhere between 3 and 7 days, and that's it.
Well, okay. Well, there you go. I'm not going to tell you how he got there, David, because I don't know, and you probably don't know either. So, all right.
Just like the ones that they find way up high in the rocks, it would take a mountain climber to get to.
And I marked some of that stuff in the book. Okay,
wow.
The next case. Obviously, the ones that we just talked about were all adults. And in your books, David, you basically have a combination of all ages that go missing. And most of them, now this is what I don't know. Are they mostly children or mostly adults that go missing in our national parks?
There's a pretty healthy mixture between really, really young and really old. And there's not a lot in that age group between, say, 30 and 45.
Okay.
Even though I think that would be a lot of the people that are in the parks.
Right.
But for some reason, that age group doesn't come up much. Really, really young, say under 10 years old and younger, and there's a lot in that 2 to 4-year-old bracket. And then there's a lot, say, 65 and older.
Okay. Wow.
I'm out of that age group. Thank goodness.
All right. The next case that I want to get into a little bit is and this is the reason why, because she was 30 months old, in the 2 years range. Amber Rose out of Michigan. We'll talk about that one.
So this area near Paris, Michigan, Paris and Baldwin, Michigan, I've written about it many times in my books, and for some reason there's a lot of very, very strange activity that goes on there. This family, her name was Amber Rose Smith. She disappeared October 8th, 2013 at 1:30 in the afternoon. 12 miles northwest of Paris is a city called Baldwin. Well, the family lived in Newaygo County. And I can tell you that this area has a lot of big, thick forests, and some of the stories go all the way back to the 1800s of disappearances. So this isn't a one-time and it's over area. That for some reason, the area around the Great Lakes has a lot of disappearances. Well, Dale Smith was her dad, and he was in the front yard with two family dogs and Amber, and they were kind of doing some work, and she was playing with the dogs. Well, he went in the house just briefly to use the restroom, and he came back in a couple minutes, and Amber, at 30 months old, and her two dogs were gone. Now, for people, again, who have read my books, you'll know this scenario plays out time after time after time. A very, very small child disappears from a yard in a farm or a ranch or in a national forest and is gone quicker than you can believe. And then the parent gets back and starts yelling for the dogs, yelling for the child, and gets no response. Now, another part of this unusual aspect of disappearances that we found is that a lot of the children that we've documented have an unusual disability. And I can't explain it other than she did. She had severe mental and physical disabilities. Well, Dad searched for a while, and then he called for help, and this went on for almost a day. And then the following day, at about 1:40, some searchers were on a road almost 2 miles from her home, and they found her standing in the middle of the road, just staring down the road, not moving. And she had scratches on her body and her face, and she was taken back to her parents. Didn't say much. Now, this is the exact statement the sheriff made. He said, "It's hard to imagine how a 2.5-year-old child can survive that distance through the woods with temperatures that reach down into the 30s through the night." Then he went on to say there's some that aren't convinced that she walked that entire distance. Maybe she was dropped off. Those are things that we might have to determine in the future. Now, you and I and other parents out there know that a 2-3-year-old kid, we know how fragile that is and really how far they can move through the woods alone. And for this sheriff, it's one of those rare times where a law enforcement person came out and said what's obvious to all of us.
In your book, on page 362, you have some cases listed here where children, young ones up to about, I guess, 9 or 10 years old, that have gone missing. Either they find their body or find them alive. And you have here the distances that they find them at. Like, for example, I'm just going to throw one out there really quick. Jack Hodges, 7 years old. They discovered the body 50 miles away. I'm looking at this 20 miles, 15 miles, 30 miles, 15 miles, 15 miles.
Even 5 miles is too far.
Even 5 miles,
really.
depending on the in the rock in the rugged mountains.
That's incredible miles.
Yeah, we're talking some. So, how does a child of 5 years old, let's say, get 50 miles from where they were last seen?
Man, that's a good question.
So, Jeffrey, I put that in there for the obvious reason to wake people up that, first of all these cases came straight from either articles in newspapers, magazines, or from search and rescue, or from law enforcement. So, and in all of the articles in the books, I write down where the information came from. So if people want to go back and look for themselves, I welcome them to go ahead and do it. Because quite frankly, when we started to put the information together, this is so far outside the realm of normal search and rescue, nobody wants to acknowledge it.
Right.
In fact, it's always outside of the range of the search. I mean, almost every one of them.
What is the farthest that they will search a lost person for, David?
So there's parameters based on the topography, the weather, the age, the health. Well, let's just say a 2-year-old child, they're not going to search more than 2 miles away from where the person was last seen. That's going to be it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And, you know, these have come about through other people studying the phenomena and coming up with the averages. Now, obviously, these are so far outside the bounds of averages. Like I said a few minutes ago, nobody wants to acknowledge it. Now, 2 years ago, I gave a talk in front of the largest search and rescue organization in the world. It's called NASAR. And at the end of that talk, an Alaska State Trooper stood up, being very brave, and said, Dave, you're saying what most of veterans in here already know, that this stuff is happening, we don't know how, and nobody wants to acknowledge it. And in that talk, I just laid out facts, like the pages you just talked about, because I think they speak volumes about what's rational. If you have a child, you know your child's not going to be found 2 days later, 10 miles away when they're 3 years old.
Right.
So, but search and rescue people, 98% of them are volunteers.
Yeah.
And God bless them, because if they weren't volunteering, law enforcement can't afford to put a deputy out there looking through the woods at $30 to $50 an hour. And so when these search and rescue people, the volunteers, go out and look, they're thinking one thing: let's find them, let's save them, let's get them back, and let's go home. They're not thinking unusual because they've never been trained in the unusual. And search and rescue groups led by law enforcement, they really don't even want to talk about what I'm talking about to you right now.
Why is that? I mean, is it because they've been told not to, or it's just so just ridiculously just crazy that I don't, I just doesn't, it blows me away. I was doing a talk in Sanger at the Rotary Club, okay, and because we were on a TV show, and I mentioned about missing people, and it so happens the fire chief was in the audience on one of the tables, and I was telling him about why does the Sierras, Yosemite, why do we have so many missing hikers and missing campers? Because we see that on the news down here constantly. And I was looking at him when I was saying this, and he was looking at me, smiling, and he was nodding at me, going, and he was acknowledging exactly what I was doing, was saying. And he was probably tripping out, because he probably had that in the back of his mind. Why isn't anybody else catching this? Well, obviously you are catching this. And I'm looking
Jeffrey, you're bringing up a good point, and it goes to something that we started a couple weeks ago with another a lady, a reader of mine. And if I could just plug a petition that's going out.
Oh, yeah.
So if you go to our website, thecanambmissing.com, you're going to see a header on one of the links that says petition. I want everyone to go in there and read that. And you just brought up the optimum point. Is why don't people know about all these missing people that are out there? And the reason being is there's no way for you to really know unless you read the books. Because the National Park Service, the U.S. Forest Service, and the Department of the Interior will not put on any of their websites any information about missing people other than during that first 7 to 10 day cycle that the people go missing. After that, many times they fall into this category, missing, presumed dead. They don't go on a database, and they're wiped off the list forever to be known.
That's true.
So what this petition is asking is for legislation to come about that requires them to maintain an online database of missing people, their location, and identifying information. And this isn't as much for us to know, even though we need to know. There are rooms in the coroner's offices, rural coroner's offices across the United States that are filled, and I'm talking filled, with bones of people they cannot identify. Oregon ran an article, and it's on our website under current events, if you can look through it, that talks about certain counties having these rooms filled with bones that they can't identify because there's no way for them to ID who's missing where.
Ah.
And the National Park Service has done everything in their power to keep us from trying to find out who's missing, where, when, and how. And so a reader contacted me. We worked on this together, and we started this petition. And we're trying to get 10,000 signatures, and then we're going to go to a senator, and we're going to try to get them to sponsor legislation to get this pushed through. And again, it's nothing that any medium-sized to large law enforcement agency doesn't keep on their website right now.
Okay. I already signed it. I want everybody. We're going to give the website out. It's called the petitionsite.com, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but you have to go to the right one.
But go to your website. Say that again. Your website, Can-Am?
CanAmMissing.com, like Canadian American, CanAmMissing.com.
Okay.
Just look for the header that says petition. Click on the petition. It'll take you to the site. You can read it, and then I'd be blessed if everybody would sign it.
Absolutely. All of you right now who are watching us and listening to us at rval.com, if you can do that right now, do it. If not, do it after the interview, after the show tonight. Now let's get 10,000 signatures on here so we can try to get this thing moving right along, because this has to stop.
Is it all right if I we have a website also, and can I put that prominently on our website for a while?
Well, that'd be great.
I'll do that,
Okay.
and even on when I put the archive up, I'll put the a little saying go to it.
Big time. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, one more case that I wanted to talk about before we really get into some other stuff. The different types of people that go missing. You're talking young, you're talking old, you're talking a lot too that have disabilities, and you also have some that are very, very smart people that are going missing. Like, for example, Crost, Mr. Crost. Well, how do you pronounce his first name? Alive?
I don't know. I'm not sure. Alioth?
Alioth.
Alioth.
There you go. From Lake Arrowhead, he went missing. Now, he was a professor, right?
Correct.
Okay. Now, we're talking, when we're not people, we're not saying, all these people, partiers, teenagers that are going up, they'll go partying and they get lost, and we're talking people that have smarts. We're talking credible people who work in law enforcement, who are military, who are professors. They're going missing. Now, you would think that somebody with intelligence would know how to get out of trouble, who know not to get into trouble. And this one caught my attention because, he was an older gentleman, but still, he's a professor. You would think he'd know how to take care of himself. He was up in the mountains. Now, talk about this one.
So in my latest book, one of the categories that I came out with was scholars or academic types. And it's something that can't be ignored. I talk about 4 physicists that have disappeared in the recent past in rural areas, mountains, national parks. Crost is number 5 now, 62 years old. He's from Germany. He's a professor at Van Gurke University in Magdeburg, Germany. And he was attending a conference at Lake Arrowhead Conference Center. And he's a hiker and a hunter in Germany, so he regularly went to the outdoors. The man was in phenomenal shape. And he was on a hike with 20 others on Pinnacle Trail. And what the resort did is they put a guide in the front and a guide in the back of the group, and they were hiking this trail. Well, towards the end of the hike, Cross got tired, and he turned to take a break, and he realized that the guide at the back seemed to be getting sick. And so they sat together, and as everyone else walked off. And they sat there for about 10 or 15 minutes. Cross said he was ready to go again, and the back guide said, hey, I still don't feel good. You know, you go ahead and go. So now Cross is last in line, and he takes off. He's never seen again. And if people look at this area around Lake Arrowhead, a lot of big boulders, but not a lot of ground coverage. And they searched for this man for over a week, and they found nothing. He was wearing a blue button-down shirt, a black lanyard with the convention insignia around his neck, blue pants, and he had a bottle of water. Right after he disappeared, the weather changed, and winds up to 60 miles per hour grounded helicopters. But they brought in bloodhounds, ATVs. After the wind stopped, they brought in helicopters with FLIRs, and they found nothing. Now, 40 miles northwest of this location is a place called the Devil's Punch Bowl, where June 11th in 98, an LA County sheriff named Jonathan Auger went out for an afternoon run, disappeared, and he was never found. And LA sheriffs threw everything at that, and they could not find him. And he's still never been found. So I don't know what to think about Cross, because he's in one of those areas where I don't think he should have disappeared, but he did. And the thing that I keyed on right away is that he was a physicist.
Right.
And he's the fifth now to disappear.
That's something you might want to talk about. Like, I mean, I know we talked about it last time, but only it's like a major theme is the storm.
Right.
It's like every.
Right.
I mean, that to me that's major.
Now,
thing.
again, I'm talking paranormal. All right,
Yeah.
because this is not normal. Okay, all of a sudden, a particular person goes missing. And then the search party comes in, and all of a sudden, a major storm comes out of nowhere and prevents them to go look. Is that right?
That happens a large percentage of the time.
Yeah, and it like that to me. That is the most strangest thing. Almost like whoever or whatever it is knows that.
Wow.
You know, like this is like the most opportunistic time to take somebody.
We
One of the things.
no.
One of the things they talk about in the book is that we, as a society, have the ability at certain levels to control weather. And so it's not that far out of the realm of normal to think that the weather could be changed when we wanted it to be changed. So keep that paradigm when you start reading about these things, because I don't know if it's. I know it's too far outside the bounds to be
Right.
coincidence.
Well, okay. So, are you telling me then that somebody has to be somebody is preventing our people to go look for certain people when they're lost?
Well, I've been writing the book about HARP,
Right.
and we've been seeding clouds forever.
Right.
So, I mean, there's a lot of this that goes on that, you know, it's hard to put A and B to equal C, but once you understand that it's too far outside the bounds of normal to think that it's just happenstance, it's not.
Talking about professors, a couple of weeks ago, we had a hiker go missing here in Kings Canyon, and they found his body dead from the Bay Area. His name is Gregory Muck, M-U-C-K. He was from Santa Cruz. He was an elementary teacher. He came to, and I'm reading it, that 12,000-foot elevation Gardner Basin. Does that sound familiar?
I think so.
Okay. And he went, he basically told everybody where he was going, and he didn't return. They sent out a search party, and they found him at the bottom of a cliff, David.
I know the case.
Okay.
And it's hard to ignore those things. On interviews I've been on over the years, I tell people that in the days when I went out alone, I would be exceptionally careful around cliffs, on trails, etc.,
Right.
because I knew that if I got hurt, there wasn't going to be a lot of help for a long time. And if I fell, there's a good chance people wouldn't find me. So I don't think that these people that are going out there are any different than me. I think that they're very careful when they go out alone.
Right.
If you look at the number of cases where people disappear and they're found at the bottom of a cliff, if you just start to pay attention to those, the numbers are going to astound you.
Yes. Yes, they are. I mean, what I'm getting from the law enforcement is they are, I have not heard to this day of them coming back and said this hiker it looked like he got attacked by a mountain lion or a bear, and that's how he died. I have not heard that at all. All of the bodies that had been found, they fell off a cliff, David.
So about 4 or 5 months ago, we started to do some videos on some cases to give them better clarity so you could understand the ramifications, the locations, etc., of these people that have disappeared. And if you go to our website and you look under the YouTube, there are these videos listed. And one of them involved a physician that disappeared this year named James McGrogan. He's from Indiana. And I just want you to go and watch the video and see the trip that some people allege this man made and where he was found at the bottom of this cliff. And then understand that he had GPS, understand he had a cell phone that worked, and he had connection, and a city was within sight of where he disappeared. All these things come together, and you start to say, this doesn't make any sense. Well, no, it doesn't make any sense. And he's an ER physician, so he's used to making rational, quick decisions. That's what he's paid to do. And you're going to tell me that this guy traveled cross-country in the middle of winter, 4.5, 5 miles to his demise? No, I don't think so. And all of these things start to come together. The more you read, the more you can see the facts don't make sense.
Right. You've changed. Like, I grew up in the mountains, and in fact, around Yosemite, and you know, I have the teacher James Arthur disappear. But my whole life changed. I saw a Bigfoot once up there. And then that changed everything. I didn't go by myself anymore. In fact, I didn't go for 6 years camping. But only then, after seeing your books, I don't go alone. I don't go. I mean, it totally changed everything. And I used to go for 2 weeks at a time, all by myself, hunting, camping, and really never even gave it a thought. But not anymore.
You know, the people that are going missing, the government, or our government, does not want to tell us about the people going missing. And you have a spot here in your book where I marked, and I noticed that, you know, here in Fresno, we see busloads, and literally busloads
yeah,
of tourists coming from San Francisco. And this is from Japan, China, you know, Russia, Germany. They literally, down Kings Canyon 180, you see busloads of these tourists. And what brings the tourists up to the mountains is obviously, you know, our redwoods, you know, Yosemite, and they bring money, David. They bring a lot of money. And I've noticed in your book, and I have a feeling that's one of the main reasons why our government does not want us to figure out about this, because there's revenue here. Right?
Well, I think that there is no doubt. I mean, there's a study that was done on Great Smoky Mountain National Park. It brings in essence, almost $800 million a year to the surrounding communities.
Yeah, who would want that cut
Yeah,
off?
and I noticed.
Well,
you
I
know,
know Yosemite makes big bucks.
Yeah, you got Yosemite here marked at $350 million.
Yeah.
You know, that's a lot of freaking money. But obviously, that's not one of the main reasons why, you know, they're I don't know. I think a lot about your cases and how they find the bodies and where they find the bodies, and I never hear in what condition the body was found in,
or if what it may have happened to it. You
right.
never hear the
It's-
conclusion.
It's always, he fell off a cliff, and that's how they found the body. Have you gotten any reports on how they found the body? I mean, like for example, and I'm going to try to get a little gruesome here, but were these bodies intact when they found them?
So you bring up an excellent point, and I'll go back to McGrogan, who disappeared earlier this year outside of Vail, Colorado, and the video we did. So when somebody finds the body, sometimes it's not law enforcement that even extracts the body. Sometimes it's, in this incident, it was Vail Mountain Rescue, a group of volunteers that found it and pulled it out. And the press puts in bare bones facts. Now, I'm from California originally, and law enforcement in California is the most tight-lipped group of individuals you can imagine, and trying to get a report out of them is like pulling teeth. Now, I live in Colorado now. Now, we have a law very similar to the Freedom of Information Act that is mandatory disclosure law. So once a case is closed, they have to release it according to the law. In McGrogan's case, we filed against the county sheriff and against the coroner, and we got both reports. Now, in that video, I not only go to the locations where he disappeared and where he was found, we also go to the location that rented him his equipment. And I showed the manager that rented him the equipment the route he took and said, does this make sense? And you're going to see that the manager says, no one would take that route. Nobody in their right mind would do it. And then before we went on camera, I asked him, I said, well, what do you think about that body being found without any boots on in the middle of winter? He said, what? He says, I talked to the coroner. They never mentioned that. I go, no, it's in the coroner's report. And I showed it to him, and he goes, that's bizarre. He goes, well, were the boots right next to him? I said, no, they never found the boots. They searched for them. They still never found them. And that, again, as I said earlier, that's a common element in many of the cases that we document. It's either clothing or shoes or boots are not there and are never found. And you explained to me in the middle of winter how this guy made it over, 4.5 miles through the backcountry, 20 to 30 foot drifts of snow with no boots.
Right. I've read the first 2 books where you listed some cases where there was a situation where they found some bones and clothing removed and sometimes actually folded nicely.
Correct.
Next to the body. I mean, dude.
That rules out an animal right away.
Yeah. I mean, what?
There's a case out of Crater Lake National Park where a 19-year-old disappeared in the middle of winter. And 20 to 30 foot drifts of snow, et cetera, et cetera. And a couple years later, some people are 12 miles into the backcountry in a box canyon, and they find this unusual kind of occurrence where they think they see some clothes and things, and they back out, and they send 2 law enforcement rangers on horseback into the backcountry. And when we filed against the Park Service for information about this, they said they didn't have the report. They threw it away. Mm-hmm. Well, luckily, one of those rangers was still alive, and I went up and interviewed him. And his name was Marion, and he said, Dave, that was the most unusual thing I've ever seen in my life. Because my partner and I rode in, and we stepped over this large log. And he goes, imagine if you were standing up, and you unbuckled your Levi's, unbuckled the belt, dropped the zipper, and dropped your pants down to your ankles. He goes, that's what we're looking at on the other side of this log, with socks at the bottom of these Levi's, with little bones in the socks, and a broken tibia in the right leg of the pants, but no other bones. And he said, I've done hundreds of these backcountry recoveries of bodies, and I've never not found boots. He goes, there were no boots there. He goes, there was no coat, there was no shirt, there was There was no camera. There was no sheath of the knife he had. And he goes, but the better question is, how did he get 12 miles into the backcountry with no skis, no snowshoes, and no winter equipment to get there?
Yeah,
Because we were so disturbed by it, we backed out and called for an FBI evidence response team from Portland to come down and work the scene.
Wow.
I've noticed here that people who are listening and watching right now, this has been going on for a long time. Long time. As a matter of fact, David lists has dates here, and the earliest you have is 1826. So, this has been going on more than a century. And who knows how long before that.
Right.
You
That's
know?
how they got the devil names.
Yeah, well, it's eating me alive that, how did they get the, I'm thinking Native Americans. That's where I'm thinking.
I mean, it could be miners. But I mean, people started naming these names because usually it's bad.
Right.
It really is. It usually is bad.
Yeah.
But I don't know how long it goes.
Just to let everybody know, after we talk to David tonight, we're going to be giving away 2 of his books. All right? I'm going to give you the number right now, but we're not going to do it right now. 559-287-8367. 559-287-8367.
Yeah, don't call, because
Don't call
it'll
now.
be beeping. And,
yeah,
and
don't
we can't
call.
talk.
We'll let you know. Now, David, I went to Amazon and pulled up your books on there. What the hell is that all about? Okay, I'm going to put up a picture. I took a snapshot, and I am going to put up a picture right now and show everybody.
I couldn't believe it either.
Okay, they don't want you to talk about this. Yeah, go ahead. Talk about these prices on Amazon. Obviously, you're not doing this, right?
No way.
No, we don't sell on Amazon. We have our own website. We have good penetration on the web. If you Google Missing 411, the name of the 4 books, our site comes up number 1.
Right.
In fact, I'll have that site. I have a contact site or a contact page for our guests, and I'll have that on in there too. And I won't put the Amazon one.
No, and I just want to show I think this is funny, David, but I'm thinking now: was this? Are the prices put on there by people who have bookstores and that are selling this, or what? I mean,
so what these appear to be to us is people that are buying our books and reselling them on Amazon at a huge profit.
Huge?
I can't believe people are paying that much for a book myself.
No, they've got to be out of their mind. Okay, your recent book is going for $2,342. Your first book is going for $2,361. Yeah, I say you're pretty damn popular, David.
Yeah.
Or somebody does not like you and does not want people to buy these books. Because if people are not familiar with shows like this, they're not going to know about your websites. You know what I'm saying? They're not. They're not. Like I said, you're coming across. There's something going on. Our government knows exactly what's going on, and they want to keep this hush hush. Obviously, you've been getting grief since you first started finding out or trying to get information from the government. They don't want to give you case files. They're making you pay or want you to pay millions of dollars, right?
Correct.
Man, that blew me away.
Yeah,
the millions of dollars just for a little report.
Yeah.
They're hiding something when that happens.
Now, since the last time we've talked to you, has anybody from forestry or government pull you aside and give you some information that obviously you haven't told us about, or something?
Put in a book.
Yeah.
So a friend of mine and I were at a national park.
Maybe so.
I think it was last summer. And we step into one of these little satellite offices, and there's 3 older gentlemen standing around a table talking to one ranger. and I happened to just be nosy, but they saw me standing there listening, and they were talking about some fascinating stuff, and you could tell that these three older guys really knew what they were talking about. And one of them gets up and he goes to the parking lot, and he kind of appeared to be leaving, so I followed him out, and I introduced myself, and I said, "Hey, if you have a minute, I'd love to talk to you. You seem to have a lot of information." And he was the nicest man you could ever believe. And he says, "Yeah, I'm a retired special agent from the Park Service." And I said, "Oh, well," and I told him what I had done and my background, and I said, "Hey, could I talk to you?" And we ended up standing there talking for like an hour, hour and a half, and he was very frank about many things. And I asked him, I said, "How and why does the Park Service withhold this information about missing people and not inform the public about these issues and blah, blah, blah?" He looks me in the face, me and my friend, and he says, "It's a lack of integrity." Those were his words. And he told us a series of stories about investigations he was doing where they were thwarted, and almost purposely somebody interdicted to ensure that the investigation wouldn't go forward. And it was a very enlightening conversation from someone who was there, who had done it, who had experienced it, and was very frustrated. And so people know, the National Park Service has a large law enforcement contingent that are law enforcement police officers and marked cars that have gone to some of the best law enforcement training in the world through the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center. And after you've been there for a while, you can step up and be a detective, and you get a category which is called special agent. And they're the ones that do the bigger investigations into the park. Now, if it's a real serious investigation, you turn it over to the FBI. But normally, it's a special agent of the National Park Service that does these investigations. And our conversation with this man was very enlightening.
Yeah, well, they're federal agents. That's pretty cool. I mean, so that like the guy I would have been blaming would have been him, but then you find out it's not him; it's somebody higher up than that, even. You know,
one thing I tell everybody
hands,
is that when you go into a park and you look at the rangers in the park, those people are here for us. They're great people. They're doing a job that is a great service to everybody who visits. They're looking out for our well-being. These are not the people that are making policy inside the Park Service. And I seriously doubt if those people know anything about what we're talking about. It's the people my guess is it's the top 3 or 4 people in the Park Service that really know what we're talking about right here.
We are you familiar with the forestry department is trying to close up some land at higher elevations above, 5,500 feet?
Something like that.
And millions of acres east of Fresno. They say because of a certain toad or frog.
Yeah.
And basically they want it fenced it off, and they want to keep people away from the upper elevations. And it is weird that, because we attended one of those meetings, and everybody was just tripping out, like, why are you guys doing this? And we were not getting an answer from them. I mean, obviously they were saying, well, there are a couple of animals, the toad and a lizard or something that it might go extinct or whatever, so we have to basically keep people out of this area. And a lot of the area that they want to block is pretty much where all these people are going missing.
Yeah.
Okay? And that's why we showed up. And it just, I don't know if there is a correlation that, the reason that they're trying, I don't know. Have you heard anything more about the shutting down of the government land? Well, actually, it's public land, and that's why people are ticked off.
Every once in a while, somebody will send me in from some part of the country something really similar to what you're saying. And what they're looking for is some logic to understand the decision. And usually it's people like you who understand the system and are trying to get a complete understanding of the rationale behind the closure. And more times than not, people can't find an understanding that makes sense.
That's 100. You hit it right on the head. I mean, and everybody in the room was getting frustrated, and the ones running the meeting were just like smug.
Yeah, they tried to answer. They were beating around the bush.
Yeah.
And it was just crazy. So, all right. What is next on your agenda, David?
Well, I could say so far this year there's been a bumper number of people who have disappeared that fit the profile of what we're researching.
Yep.
And it has. It really has. Really.
And that's very disturbing, because last year was another one of those years that if you look back in the previous 30, there were more than ever. And I don't think it's our awareness of the topic. I actually believe that there's something unusual going on, which is even more bothersome. So, I mean, in the last year, I've had 3 families of victims that have contacted me. One, a girl that's a physician, and a guy that was an attaché out of British Columbia for the government that disappeared on a hike. Her mom contacted me. A wife of a man who disappeared in British Columbia contacted me. And Jared Adadero's dad contacted me. And in fact, I'm going to be going to a search and rescue meeting this week with Alan Adadero, and he wanted me to go with him to help explain some of the circumstances in his son's disappearance that people don't want to acknowledge.
What's so particular about that case? That's interesting. I mean,
his son was in a wilderness area, and he was with a group of adults, and somehow he got away from them. And in fact, this is one of the videos we did that you can watch online on our website. And he disappeared. They searched for him, and 4 years later, they found his shoes and a sweatshirt and a pair of pants inside out, 550 feet above the trail that he was on. He was 3 years old. And we made the hike up to the location where they found his remains, and they only found a tooth on the top of his cranium. And I can tell you that was one of the hardest hikes I've ever made in my life. We were on all fours going up this steep embankment. And Alan had explained to me beforehand that his son never liked to tie his shoes. And he couldn't understand how his shoes ended up 550 feet up this embankment. And originally, the sheriff in the county said, well, he must have been taken by a bear or a mountain lion. Well, Alan showed the clothing to some mountain lion experts, and 3 of them said, no, he wasn't taken by a mountain lion, based just on such little damage done to the sweatshirt he was wearing. It doesn't make sense. And then everyone questioned why his pants would be inside out. And therein lies another issue on many of these missing persons cases, is that when they're found, their pants are inside out. Think about that.
Weird. That's one of the things that boggles the mind.
Yeah, Jared's shoes looked to be in immaculate condition for supposedly being in the winter for 4 years. The colors were vibrant.
really?
Yeah, and you watch this video and you can see the shoes. It's going to be puzzling to everybody that they were out for 4 years. But how he got up that 550-foot area is beyond any logical grasp of an explanation. I have no idea, because I did all I could, and I'm in phenomenal shape to get up the side of that mountain.
Wow. And how old was this person?
3 years old.
3 years old.
No way.
Okay. Then that's what we're trying to tell people. Tell people.
In fact, that's something you might do is that we haven't done yet so far is list the things, like we did the storm and stuff like that, but only like tie them all, the things that the criteria that makes it into the book. You know what I mean, or into makes it one of these kinds of cases.
Well,
so at the beginning of each one of the books, we go through this explanation.
Right.
And this is one of the other reasons why we started to do these videos, is to to give some clarity to maybe any ambiguity that may be out there about these cases, and take the rumors out and talk about the facts. And in Atadero's case, few of the facts have ever come out like this, and now they're finally out there on the table, and it'll be interesting to see what the response is from law enforcement.
I think it's interesting. Like, they don't even, they try to avoid the subject. We've talked to several around here. I know some, and and when I talk to them, they don't even want to talk about it at all. Like you were saying, California has tight-lipped cops. These guys are tight-lipped on this for sure.
Wow. Okay, David. I'm the reason, the reason why I brought you on is I've been trying to put in people's heads that there are people like you and me, children that are going missing. I have friends and relatives who like to go camping, and they just let their kids go out and run around, and they need to watch their loved ones from now on. And like Alan was saying a couple of weeks ago, I went on a rant, and I pretty much said, that's it, you guys, stop going by yourselves, no more. You need to go with somebody, carry a gun, and like you, carry some type of transponder, GPS, in case you do get lost. But that is not, I mean, don't think you're going to be safe even with the gun, because people are going missing with guns, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Shit. Okay. All right, David. Your website again, Can-Am. What was it?
CanAmMissing.com. Go there, look at the petition, and then go to the YouTubes and watch our YouTubes. It'll offer a lot of clarity to you, and it'll help your argument, Jeffrey, about people going into the woods and why not to do it, because there's one on there about a small kid, there's one on there about an elderly man, so it covers the bases.
Right on.
I just subscribed a little bit ago before the show. So, I just happened to see that and subscribed. So I'm going to be watching.
So, obviously, this is your fourth book. Are you going to be writing another book on more cases, or are you going a different direction, or what do you got going?
I'm not sure what's going to happen next. I mean, the response we've had from the videos has been astounding. It's all positive, so that's good. We might continue to do that, accumulate cases, and just kind of see where things go with it.
Okay.
But it's people like you that we sincerely appreciate the visibility you're giving the topic.
Roger. All right. All right, David, I appreciate you coming on. This stuff just intrigued the hell out of me, because I'm going to say it, it's paranormal, man. This is not normal stuff that's happening to the public. They're going missing, and how they're going missing, it's just blowing my mind, and I'm sure you're blowing a lot of people's mind out there right now. So, all right, David, thank you very much, and I'm sure we're going to be talking soon in the future, all right?
Sounds great. I appreciate it, guys.
All right, take care. See ya.
Bye-bye.
Now you know why I've been telling you guys, stop it. Stop going by yourselves up in the mountains. You need to quit right now. All right? I mean, come on. We just had a hiker just found dead 2 weeks ago, east of Fresno. All right? And we just, actually, they just found a dead body at Shaw Avenue and Zedeker Avenue. And this is way on the bottom. And they're saying they found a dead female, and that's it. They're not saying anything more. So you guys need to stop right now. I got 2 books that we're going to be giving away. And let's go ahead and do it right now. Let's give away the first book.
Fourth caller.
Fourth call. Really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's, okay.
Okay.
Oh, wait. Actually, go through, hang up on 10 calls, and then we'll start after that, because of the delay on Art Bell. Remember how you were telling me?
So the 14th caller.
So the 14th caller. All right,
Okay.
so let's go. I'm going to give you a book.
Not even make the delay.
I think so.
I think so.
I think so. All right, you guys, let's go. We're going to give away 1 book right now. I'm missing 411, The Devil's in the Detail. There's some stuff in here that's going to blow your mind. Actually, there's some stuff in here that I didn't talk about with David, only because you know, the whole idea on him coming on is to talk about the facts of the people that are going missing. There's like, I don't want to say a chapter, there's like about 4 or 5 pages that have to do with paranormal in here. All right? But if you want to read it, you have to buy the book. And I'm telling you, there's stuff in here about fairies, and UFOs and other stuff like this. But he's only putting it out there because it's not what we think it is. It's there's you know, information that comes about some of these cases that'll trip you out. All right. Again, you know, I don't know what's going on. I have no freaking clue. Why are these people all of a sudden disappearing? Well, I'm not saying all of a sudden. They've been disappearing for over a century now. And this has been going on. You imagine how many thousands and thousands of people have gone missing? You guys remember, too, I've said this before on my show, I actually had a retired lady, forestry department, who wrote a couple of books. And she was the one that actually arrived early at Yosemite to open up the gates. She wrote a book, and she quoted, and this is what she said in her book. And I almost memorized it only because it just blew me away. She says, in the mornings when I arrive to the park, I open the gates, and I let the people in, and I wonder which one of these people are not going to leave tonight. This is what she said. All right, and I quote, that's what she said. So, obviously, the forest rangers, they know how many people are going missing. You know, all of the fire department and people up and down the valley and the foothills know exactly what's going on, because when I was, you know, giving a talk at the Rotary in Sanger, and you know, I saw the fire chief of Sanger pretty much nodding. He says, "Dude, yeah, you're right." All right, so
I remember that. I remember he actually got up and grabbed Jeff after the meeting and wanted to talk to you about it. Remember that? I mean, like, we were starting to clean up, and he came over to us, you know, and started asking questions.
Because, you know, people, they have questions. And, you know, I can't tell you, because the way these people are going missing, disappearing, sometimes they're finding the body, sometimes they're not. It's just weirdness, total weirdness, and I don't get it. It's blowing me away. This is totally supernatural stuff that's happening, and our government knows. David didn't want to say supernatural, but it is. There's something supernatural going on with the missing people, on how they're disappearing, because you can't say that an animal or a person is abducting these people. All right, who is it?
First name was Debbie.
Debbie?
Hey, Debbie,
Debbie,
congratulations.
And she's waiting for her book that she won 3 months ago, Jeff.
Okay,
Woohoo.
well, good. I'll send it with her on this one. Not
Yeah,
3
if
months
you
ago. It
send
wasn't 3 months ago.
It was a while.
Okay, I'll send it both of them. That's cool. Okay, cool. All right.
He'll save on postage.
Exactly. So, all right. And I got these books I got to send. I know. I'm just been swamped. Okay. All right. God, what else was I going to talk about?
I love the devil in the details
I
part.
mean, that pretty much just tells it all. So for all those who are going to go camping in the near future, if where you're going says the devil, don't do it.
Or at least be, like, really watching out for yourself.
Right.
Because if you're going to the Devil Anywhere, Diablo Canyon, or anything like that, you know, pay attention.
And again, we just talked about this before I brought David on, or actually when we had David on. I interviewed David about 3 years ago when he put out his first book. He has a series of 4 books out now. Okay. I was the only one at that particular time to get him on for 3 hours straight.
Yep.
I did a 3-hour show with David.
In fact, that record just got broke only like 2 months ago.
Well, you got to think about commercial times too.
No, we don't have any. So
no,
you broke the record still.
I think still, because those radio stations that
it was. We won't name them.
No, we won't. But I hold the record so far, having him on 3 hours. Now, obviously, when David interviews people on these cases. He actually goes and talks to the families and talks to people that are familiar with the cases and that were involved in the cases. Well, he told me a story about one particular case. Now, we're not saying that all these cases are because of one particular thing that happened in this particular case, but I'm not going to tell you what it is. You have to go and watch the show. All right? The show, if you go Google David Paulides missing 411, and I think we're like the number 4, that video is like number 4 or number 5 on Google.
Something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. We're in the top 5.
Top 5.
All of ours are the top 5 Google
on the Google search. If you put in David Paulides missing 411, and if you put in, and I think that'll take you, you'll see me behind the desk without Alan, because, like, again, I did this 3.5 years ago. There is a story that he told that he has never told that story ever again on any other show except my show. I want you guys to go and listen or watch that particular. It's on the YouTube, all right? It's on YouTube. Alan got the file and downloaded it onto YouTube, the full 3 hours. It's a great show. That show will scare the crap out of you. I'm telling you.
All you have to do is type in Paranormal Central and then just click on the YouTube, Paranormal Central YouTube.
Okay, and that'll take you. You guys have to go and watch that show. All right? There is the story he told about one particular case that's going to knock you off your you-know-what. And our intention here is to make you guys aware of your surroundings from now on when you go camping or hiking. All right? Just because your child is playing 10 feet from you, don't you think that he or she is safe? Because people are going missing that close from other people, and they're totally disappearing like poof, and they're gone forever.
And right out of their camper. Like, even if you don't walk way away from your camper,
Well,
I mean, some of them were even taken straight out
of their camper. A kid was taken out. He was asleep inside the camper.
Yeah.
And they heard their child screaming, and they came in. She was gone, and that's all on that first. You have to go watch that last show that I had with David Paulides. I think that's probably one of the best that I have ever done on Paranormal
That was
Central.
his first book, and he was coming out with the Eastern one. He
Right.
had already put out the Western one, and we were talking about him bringing the Eastern one out. So he's like done 3 more books since.
So
then,
far he has a 4-book series right
Yeah.
now. All right. I don't know. I would like to know if you. I mean, obviously it's supernatural. It's paranormal. People are disappearing. I mean, you can honestly say abduction. Obviously they're being abducted. But the question is now, how are they abducted? By whom are they being abducted? All right. I mean, we could say, and again, this is a paranormal show here, you guys. We talk about weird crap all the time. You know, a UFO, portals. That's where I'm going with this.
It could be Bigfoot.
It could be.
It could even be government. You know what I mean? Like, especially the smart guys. All of a sudden, we got to get this smart guy, and then they wait. They listen in on his cell phone, and
Right.
he's going to the mountains, and then they go get him.
It's the way these people are going missing that is very supernatural, paranormal. Doesn't make sense. Like he even went into the weather phenomenon. I didn't think he was going to go that far. That's conspiracy.
Yeah, but he blew me away on it. Like, we're changing the weather.
Yeah, that's conspiracy stuff, though.
If you live in California, you're about to believe it because we don't have any rain.
We had a talk before a couple days ago about how we wanted to communicate this book out to you guys, and we wanted to leave the Bigfoots out and the UFOs out because we don't have an answer for you guys. We don't. But it could be all of the above. It could be all of the above, you guys.
And most likely is.
And it most likely
and
is.
then some that we didn't even think of.
Right. And our government knows, I can tell you right now, they obviously know that these people are going missing. And they want to keep hush-hush because
bad for business.
It's well, bad for business, but it's supernatural stuff that's not supposed to be real. Oh. Okay? All of a sudden, if they would have came out and said, okay, you know, the UFOs are abducting all these people and taking them. I mean, think about a 7-year-old child goes missing and they find him or her 50 miles away over a mountain, over a hill, through a river, and find the body, you know, that far at a distance. How did that person get there from where that person was last seen? Obviously, that person could not go through a raging river during the winter, a 7-year-old, and then over, cliffs and mountains, and then all of a sudden the body is found that far? And there's no marks on the body, but yet the person is dead, laying there. So you have to think, well, obviously, it wasn't a bear, it wasn't a mountain lion, it wasn't a person, because a person could not travel through that water raging river to get 50 miles away. So the next obvious answer is, well, then that person was teleported to that location. That's the only obvious answer. I mean, if you guys can give me an answer on how a 7-year-old got 50 miles away, then I want to hear it, because there is no answer. Now we're talking supernatural, paranormal here. That person was levitated from point A to point B. That's the only logical answer. And it probably goes way deeper than what we're all thinking right now, guys. All right?
I'm sure of that.
Oh, there's some crazy shit happening in our world. And all of you out there who think the next time you watch the movie Supernatural or a UFO show, that's just movie stuff. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. It's for real. All right? I'm telling you, right now, all this stuff is for real. There's some crazy stuff flying over our heads that can do the most ridiculous maneuvers. There are hairy creatures running around the mountains, and I tell you right now, that's a fact. All right? People are witnessing grays, they're witnessing weird creatures, shadow people. All this is for real. So don't think this is just make-believe stuff, all right?
I would bet that in the audience listening right now, somebody's seen a shadow people. I would bet money on it. That somebody has a story of a shadow, and it could be like a little one, or it could be a man in a hat and a coat.
Right.
I mean, I would bet money.
And there's a lot of people out there who have it inside them, and they want to tell somebody. And I'm telling you right now, if I'm looking right at you, you are not alone. All right? You are not whacked. You're not crazy. You're not seeing things. Don't be embarrassed about what you encountered or what you witnessed, because there are literally thousands and hundreds of thousands, probably millions of people around the world that they're experiencing exactly the same thing. And
we got one more book.
Yeah, we got one more book, guys.
A few more minutes. So.
Okay. Let's do it. All right. 14th caller again. One more book. 14th caller, you'll get the book. The 4th edition, Missing 411, The Devil in the Details. There's some crazy shit stuff in this book, guys. Not mentioning the other 3. Go get his books, and don't get it from Amazon, because you'll be paying $3,000. All right.
Really? Huh? You have to trade your car and buy a book.
So, and I want you guys definitely to go, and when you get time, go watch the first interview I did with David Paulides. I guarantee you guys are going to freak. I didn't want to say anything on the air with David because, we wanted to separate ourselves from the paranormal. But You know what? This is the only logical answer is paranormal. It's supernatural stuff that's happening out there to these people. There's no other logical answer. There isn't. We've tried debunking, how did a person get from point A to point B? Well, all of the above, no. It has to go E, supernatural. And now you're talking stuff you see on TV, man. All right? Crazy stuff. Should we go for another hour? Yeah, let's go for another hour. We'll just talk stuff.
We could do another hour?
We can do it. Okay, we're going to go for another hour, you guys. All right? There's some other stuff that we want to talk about as well. And, Emerald's got to go here pretty quick, but that's okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have her give me the phone and that over there. So we'll probably want to take some calls like soon. And then, but right now she is trying to get the 14th caller, 559-287-8367, 559-287-8367. The last four numbers represent the letters UFOS. That is also my paranormal hotline. You can call me anytime, preferably not when I'm asleep, though. And I will try to help you out as much as I can. So there you go. All right. In a couple of minutes, I am going to tell you who our guest is going to be next week. Just confirmed. The person almost didn't want to come on, but I had a talk with this person, and I don't want to say it's going to knock your socks off, but it's going to be really cool. And I'll talk to you as soon as we get the winner. And Emerald has got the winner on the line right now, so all those people, please stop calling. So, but yeah, I got a cool interview next week. I think it's going to be interesting. So I'll wait right now when Emerald is finished getting that person. So yeah, we're going to go for another hour, you guys. So, and then we're just going to go ahead and just talk about some weird stuff that's been happening in the news. And I'll probably take some calls, and I'll answer them myself because Emerald has to go. We don't have a budget, so I really can't pay her to be here. She has she has a life, just like some of us.
She's really dedicated and really good at what she does.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So right now she's getting the information. So all right, yeah.
So like I might have to jump out screen for a second.
Yeah, I mean it's actually warm in here too. Somebody might have to go to the bathroom or whatever, but.
That would be me. I drank all my coffee.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
You can go get some more coffee if you want. So I'll manage the line. So she's talking right now. Like I said, she's talking to that person right now. So
don't you just love that? Somebody said they're going to go to the FYI airport. Have you ever heard of an airport called FYI?
For your information,
it's not that big of an airport.
Right.
Fresno Yosemite International is the actual letters. Or the words for the letters. But
why did someone say they're going to do that or what?
Yeah. Elizabeth's going to go.
She's going to go check out the Bigfoot stuff?
Yeah. Don't buy all the little Bigfoot stuff things because we want one.
They actually had some cool Bigfoot. I'll put it on right now because we went through it really quick.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, let me put it on there real quick because there's some cool stuff that they never had before. I believe it was right.
They told me they weren't going to have any more, and I mean I got in trouble.
Who won?
Mr. Thorne from Texas.
Right on.
Yay!
Whoever that is.
Congratulations,
Mr. Thorne. So, okay, right now I got on the screen the Bigfoot stuff that they're having at the airport. Look at that mug up there, the foot mug. See that?
See, my wife just ripped me. We took my son to the airport, and then I went in there, and I came back with this bag full of stuff that was the last they had, and they said they weren't going to have any more, and I was all proud of myself. I got it.
Right.
And, man, she didn't let me live that down for like a month. If I'm not even going to tell her they have six tables full of stuff, she'll say I lied to her.
What I like to do, and I think we talked about it last night, is I like to go in there and talk to the buyer and see if we can put some pictures up above the shelves, like of you and Finding Bigfoot crew when they were down here filming, You know, if I could get David Ragosa to give me permission to put up a photograph of the 8x10 of the Bigfoot that he got walking up that hill, put one there so people can look and say, what the heck is this? You know, this because people are tripping out. Why is there 6 shelves of Bigfoot stuff at the Fresno airport? You know, a lot of people to this day have no clue what's going on east of us. No clue. If you watch this show or listen to it at artbell.com, well, then you have an idea. But otherwise, the next person has no clue. No freaking clue. Okay? And I want to make people know about it. I want people to know about what's going on around us. What's that?
Do you have a picture up right
No.
now? Put something up for me to do this.
What? Okay, yeah, go ahead and give me that. Oh, all right, hold on, guys. Go ahead and talk.
No, I meant put a picture up.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah,
See, Emerald is still Emerald's wanted by the FBI, CIA, DEA.
No, I'm not.
I know, just kidding. All right, go.
Hey. Okay, guys, look real hard and you can see
No,
Emerald.
just kidding.
I'm just pulling your leg. Yeah, we could talk about what we did last night. Yeah. And they were telling me, like, Jeff was just telling me there's a fire in Yosemite.
Yosemite is burning right now, you guys.
In the valley, right?
No, at the top of the hill. Thanks, Emerald.
Oh. Man, but only we were in the mountains last night, and it was so dry.
Yeah,
oh
it
my
was.
God, it is really dry.
It was. We had nothing going on last night when we went to the spot. It was so dry. There was a trillion crickets. It was so loud. Yeah, I've never heard crickets like that before at that spot. That was just weird. That just blew me away. So, I don't know.
That spot is always like something different every time.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go ahead and give or tell everybody who we have next week.
Okay, and I'm gonna take my little.
Okay.
While you do that.
So I'm gonna put up a picture right now of the person.
This is gonna be a cool one, guys.
Okay, hold
You
on.
will want to be here next week.
All right, hold on. Oh, you know what? Let me just open that picture up some more here. All right. Boom. All right, I just put up a picture of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 gentlemen. Obviously, this looks like to be an old picture. They happen to be loggers. Does everybody remember Fire in the Sky? Travis Walton? Well, I don't have Travis Walton because I'm kind of saving him for something. But I have another gentleman by the name of Steve Pierce. He was one of the loggers in the crew who witnessed the abduction of Travis Walton. And he is going to be on with us next week. All right. It was really hard getting him, but I did get him. I have found out that he wrote a book, a personal book about himself and what's going on with him right now, which I thought had something to do with Fire in the Sky, abduction. But it doesn't. It just so happens that the book that he wrote about himself is about something paranormal that's happening to him right now. Then I found out that he only put out 50 books. And that's it. Then I just found out that I got the last 3 books. And guess what? I am going to be the last interview he is going to give ever in his life. I am the last interview ever that he's going to give about Fire in the Sky. And I got the last 3 books, which I'm going to be giving away 2 because I'm keeping one. That is going to be next week. I have Steve Pierce, one of the loggers. As a matter of fact, the picture that you see right now, he is the far left logger. And if you guys all saw the movie Fire in the Sky, which I actually saw it when it was in the theaters, man, I was so there. The actor that played him with Elliot from E.T., that was the actor that played him in the movie. So he was in the pickup. He was one who saw Travis Walton get zapped and he was there. So we're going to talk to Steve Pierce next week about that whole ordeal and find out if there's anything that was left out of the movie. 'Cause, the movie, when somebody writes a movie about an incident, they exaggerate a lot, you guys. A lot of that stuff is made up to make the movie better. Okay? So a lot of the stuff that you saw in Fire in the Sky never really happened. So we're going to find out. Obviously, it wasn't from a first person because we're not talking to Travis Walton. Like I said, I have what's the word I'm looking for? I'm going to use Travis Walton later down in the near future. But it just so happens that I found out about Steve Pierce, and I got him next week. And again, this is going to be the last interview he will ever do in his life. He's not going to do one between now and then. I've got it, and this is going to be the last one. And I've got the last 3 books. He's not going to have any more published. And I'm going to give away 2 next week. And you know what's odd, though, you guys? Is he doesn't want to talk about what's in the book. He told me. He goes, Jeff, I don't want to talk about what's in the book. I just will talk about the incident with Travis Walton, which is throwing me for a loop because I found out about what was in the book, and it's supernatural, paranormal stuff. All right, that's going on with him right now, and he pulled out of a interview that he was supposed to do a couple of weeks ago, and there's something going on, and he was going to spill it on next week's show. But now he doesn't think he's going to. He just wants to talk about Fire in the Sky. I might be able to drag it out of him. Let's see if I can. I'm pretty good at doing that. So I'm hoping that I can interview him and get him and ask him why is this going to be the last interview he's ever going to do. All right. So we have Steve Pierce from the movie Fire in the Sky. He's one of the loggers. And like I said, he was played by Elliot from E.T. That was him. The actor that played him. We're gonna have him next week. That's gonna be cool. I'm gonna have the last interview he's ever gonna do in his life. It's gonna be here at Paranormal Central next week, and that is a fact. And oh my God, Alan's been abducted, just like that. Poof. So all right. There was other things I wanted to talk about. Hold on, let me look at my notes. I'm gonna wait for Ellen to get back. So I'm just gonna go and skim a couple of things here. Hold on, you guys. Let's talk a little conspiracy, you guys. All right. You all know who just passed away a couple days ago? Joan Rivers. All right. Now we're gonna talk conspiracy theories. All right, you guys. Yeah, because, we talk about all that stuff here on the show. Paranormal, conspiracy theories, all that happens to lie in the same genre of subjects that I like. And I'm not afraid to talk about a particular subject. And I now want to talk about Joan Rivers. All right? As a matter of fact, Jack, Joan Rivers made a comment in July about Obama. She said something about Obama. All right? And it made news. TMZ ran with it. Everybody heard exactly what she said. And I remember hearing it. And my wife, Cheryl Diane, whatever her name is, said, after we heard it, I said something to her. Let me see if I can get her out here. Hold on. I just called my wife over because I want her to basically verify what I said out loud to her when Joan Rivers made that comment. with your voice, remember when Joan Rivers made... No, you stay right. No. When Joan Rivers made the comment that that about Obama, what did I tell you was going to happen to her?
They would kill her.
Say it louder.
They will kill her.
They will kill her, right? She would die. She was going to die within 2 months. That's what I said. Okay, thank you.
It's still unknown cause of death.
Right. So I pretty much called that one, and Cheryl Diane, whatever her name is, heard me say that because she said, "Holy Jeff, you were right." Now, let's think about this conspiracy theories. Now, I went ahead and I posted it on my wall on Facebook. I posted the comments she made about Obama, and a couple of people let me have it because it's our president of the United States, right? I shouldn't be talking like that about him. But something happened a year ago or a couple of years ago about another particular person who was supposed to come out and say and give everybody some information about Obama. Do you guys remember Breitbart? The guy who owns the website? He pretty much came out and said, and he was talking in front of a camera doing a speech, and he says he has information that's going to turn Obama's world upside down, right? And I remember when he said that, I said, "Dead man walking." Dead man walking. Well, guess what? He was walking out of a club or a bar, and he got out to the sidewalk. He fell face first. He was dead. Right there. Boom. Dead. And I went, holy mackerel. They killed him. Right before he was supposed to release the information. Okay? And then this happened with Joan Rivers. And I pretty much called it. I said, something's going to happen to her within the next couple of months. She's going to die. And now she's...
You predicted that. You did.
Okay, then she's dead. Okay. The people that run the government are very powerful, you guys. We have stuff out there that they can kill anybody so easily without any trace. It's not even funny. Joan Rivers was the type of person who didn't give a crap about what she said. And she said it. Now, what she said, is it a fact? I don't know, but I'm telling you right now, a lot of people seem to think it is.
I'm almost afraid to say anything. You wind up dead.
Yeah, because there are a couple of videos out there that have, that kind of back up a story. All right, now I don't want to say anything, but go and Google what Joan Rivers said about Obama,
and then it'll bring up some other videos that will try to prove it.
Right. Okay. So am I out of my league right now? Am I just way out? Dude, you have no idea. You're absolutely ridiculous for bringing this subject up. You have no idea what you're talking about. This is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. But the stuff that we talk about on this show is absolutely ridiculous stuff. It's stuff that is hard to imagine unless we bring you information and facts about what we're talking about. And that's what I wanted. That's what the show is all about, you guys.
I was telling my wife, we talk about the paranormal and stuff like that, and you think you get it figured out. You think you got it all figured out. It was aliens, right? Like what's his name? With the weird hair. He's like, I don't know, but only it's aliens, right? And you think for sure that you have it all figured out, and then something happens or something comes out and it blows your paradigm out of the water, and then it makes you rethink everything. Well, I've had my paradigm blown out of the water so many times now that I don't even say I'm not gonna stand firm on anything anymore, because man, it just gets weirder and weirder. Weird, really weird.
Really weird. Let's talk about terrorists right now.
Oh man,
We were talking about that before we went on the air.
yeah.
About how ISIS is supposedly here in the United States already, and
They are.
and getting ready to plan an attack. You were telling me, and I don't know how I missed it, but Holder.
Eric Holder.
Eric Holder is the, what is he to
He's
the
like the top cop, Attorney General.
Attorney General? Thank you. You were telling me he has just switched religions.
He did it a while ago. He had to go for business
Okay.
to Saudi Arabia. And that's where we send all our money when we buy a tank of gas. But he turned Muslim. He's now Muslim over there. And then since then, guess what, man? The Muslims can come in and out. And I'm not bashing Muslims or anything, but there's some Muslims out to get us, you know. They already are saying they're going to attack. They've already attacked, and I don't get it why we don't do something about it. But I actually believe like maybe our government might be kind of bought off by these Saudis with all their money.
Now you were telling me that the Saudis are pretty much buying everything.
Yeah, they are. Like the prince, I can't say his name, but he's a prince of the king of. He's the second son. He owns major shares of Time Warner. He's the number 2 owner of Fox. Get this, Fox News, right? That's the one all the conservatives go get their news from. Do you? The news is skewed. The news is skewed. They're putting in. They're not telling you the truth anymore. You can't trust them. I mean, I don't even know who to trust anymore. Really.
Yeah. It started to scare me really bad when all these people were running through the borders and we couldn't stop it. And
they were letting them.
They were letting them. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I heard that the higher ups instructed the Border Patrol to be inland about 5 miles. Then what the heck who was monitoring the borders? No one.
Yeah, it was stand down. But you know what? Hey, I got a little experiment. Let's all try to go the other way.
Right.
And see what happens.
Yeah. Let's all try to go over the fence and go towards Mexico. Guess what will happen?
Hey, you won't. It's going to be a lot worse for you than trying to come this way.
They will shoot you.
Yeah.
Or they will put you in jail like they just did this military personnel who supposedly accidentally crossed the border by accident. They seized him and he's in jail right now. Been there for almost a year.
Like the laptop they found?
Oh, yeah. And then supposedly they just found a laptop that has instructions for them to basically use car bombs and others. They were going to use actually viruses as well, all right, to get back at the United States. And this is all supposed to happen within the next couple of months.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, what is today's date? The 7th?
Yeah.
Guess what 4 more days is, you guys? Anybody?
That's when the towers came down.
September 11th is 4 more days, you guys.
Wow.
All right? So everybody needs to be very vigilant on
Have you ever seen the videos?
Thursday.
There's a video on YouTube, and it goes back, I don't know how many years, but it plays movies where they have the 9/11 in it and the towers. And man, you know how many movies they warned us about 9/11 before 9/11 happened? I mean, it blew my mind. TV shows and movies where they would stop the clock on 9/11, or they would check their watch. It was 9/11, or it would be a picture and it was 9/11.
9/11.
I mean,
And
it
the
was unreal.
The Simpsons was one of those particular cartoons
Yeah.
that actually had that.
Crazy, man.
I don't know. And again, I'm going to tell you, stuff that you see on TV. I'm going to sneeze right now. Hold on. That hold on.
Woo! Bless you.
Holy Toledo's.
I heard about the girl that got kicked out of school for saying "bless you."
Yeah. Oh, God. Oh, my gosh. So, all right. Did you know? I'm going to sneeze again. Wow. Hold on. Mute everything. I think it's Alan.
Oh.
Maybe I'm allergic to you.
Oh, maybe.
I took an allergy pill. God, maybe the smoke from Yosemite. I'm looking at pictures right now on my Facebook, and Yosemite is majorly on fire, guys.
See, I just went outside because it's 100 and whatever out there, and I'm thinking, man, when I go to get in my car, it'll be 150 degrees, so I'm going to roll some windows down. We get out there, and there's major cloudage all over the place. I mean, big, huge, looking like storm clouds, and man, then I'm rolling the windows down thinking, man, is my luck. I'm going to come back in here, and it's going to thunderstorm in my car.
Did you know that our International Space Station is launching satellites without permission from anybody on the ground?
Yeah, I heard about that.
They're
You know
launching
what else they
satellites.
did? They turned off the cameras.
Again.
Yep. They turned them off because of what the cameras are picking up.
Right. There's things flying up there, guys, that they
and
don't...
docking with them.
I don't know if that's real or not. That's some crazy stuff. You guys, there's some crazy stuff happening right now. There is a picture on Facebook of Clinton and Lawrence Rockefeller. I guess all of the elites are pretty much, all together. The Clintons, the Bushes, the Rockefellers, everybody are pretty much in cahoots with each other, even Obama. All right? It's a fact. And this was a while back when I think Clinton was the first lady, and she was walking with Lawrence Rockefeller. And you know how the press takes pictures and they post them and it gets out there. Well, Miss Clinton was carrying a book in her left arm with her jacket, and part of the back of the book itself was out there so you could see it. But when they took a picture of it, they had to zoom in on it and try to figure out, well, what was the book that she was carrying? Well, that book finally was revealed. Somebody actually zoomed in on it and went all out and tried to find what book she was actually carrying. And it was a book about UFOs. As a matter of fact, I believe it's on my Facebook wall. For all those who are not friends of mine on Facebook, I suggest you do so, because I have several people like Elizabeth Martinez and Danny and Alan and some other guys who post some great stuff. And what's his name? Oh my God, Douglas Stingley.
Yeah.
Okay. And this particular one was actually Douglas posted this, and she was holding a book. Now let me give you the title of this book. It is now why was she
got the title?
Yeah. Wow. So what they did is they zoomed in on the back of the book. It had the barcode, and it had just about this much out in the open. And with that, people started. As a matter of fact, here's the book, and it was like this part was out of her jacket, so you can only see this part. But they were able to, with that, find the book that it matched up with. And
wow.
And it's on my Facebook wall, you guys. All right, you guys go and look for it. The front cover. The author is Paul Davies, and the actual title of it is "Are We Alone?"
Wow.
Okay.
I know we're not alone.
All right,
we're not.
And check it out.
Whoa.
There it is. And with that, they were able to figure out, because there it is, and that's "Are We Alone" by Paul Davies. Now, hold on here. Check out the necklace.
Whoa. Okay, that would be like
That double cross, like ISIS, like.
Yeah, I mean the double cross. That's the same one Exxon uses, and
What? How come nobody even talked about that?
Because they're too busy looking at the
book. You guys, Douglas, the picture that you just put up on my wall, Jeffrey Gonzalez, all you guys who want to look at it, you know what? I'm gonna.
You can, I think.
Yeah, but I don't want to
bumped off. Huh?
That's what I'm afraid to do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. I don't want to take a chance and then have that happen. So go to my wall. Anybody can go to my wall right now on Facebook.
Yep.
Jeffrey Gonzalez. Type that in or Sanger Paranormal Society. You'll get there one way or another. Scroll down. Douglas Stingley put an article, and it has Miss Clinton and Rockefeller walking right next to each other, like on a path in like the woods. And when you get to that article, scroll down, and it shows you the book that she actually has in her, in her left arm, tucked under her jacket. And I'm looking at the freaking necklace she's wearing, and it looks like double crosses on it, like something you would see from the Egyptian.
Right, yeah, it looks Egyptian.
Holy Toledo, guys.
That's something else we were talking about.
Yeah,
right before the show.
You want to talk about that?
About the ISIS thing.
Yeah.
I mean, the connection of ISIS to Egyptian.
Now, let's talk. Cheryl Diane, whatever her name is, brought this up. The name of the terrorist group is
ISIS, but only our government calls it ISIL.
ISIL.
Yeah, that was their original name, was ISIL.
Oh.
But only they changed it to ISIS. Why?
The Illuminati guys, Egyptian, Katy Perry.
Sadly.
I know. I'm still going to have her on my show one of these days. Dang it. I swear she's going to be on my show. I don't care. But the Egyptian... Was that me? Oh, crap. Sorry. The Egyptian logos, sigmas, all that, it involves the Illuminati.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, there was a thing out here on Facebook where they had a picture of Obama, and they had the statue of an Egyptian king, and Obama looks identically like it. All right. Now, again, we were just talking about, ISIS, and I went to YouTube. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to play something for you. Back in the 70s, when there was like really cool shows, you guys all remember Shazam? Billy, I think his name was Billy, and it was that older gentleman, and they're driving around in that Winnebago, and he would go Shazam, and he would turn into the Super Marvel or whatever his name is, right? There was also another show called ISIS. I'm going to play... this is crazy. Hold on. I'm looking it up right now, because actually I want to play the audio for you. If I know how to spell. God, I don't know how to spell. Sorry, guys. Well, where did I look that up? Okay, let me pull up Shazam. Can't believe I'm actually saying the word Shazam.
Shazam. I remember that show. That was one of my favorite ones when I was a kid.
Now, but see, what happens, though, when you have shows like that, when we were younger, we never paid attention to a lot of the wording and the music or anything like that. I want you guys to listen. Hold on. It's the hotline. Okay, let me rewind. Okay, here we go. You guys remember that? Oh, those are the
And
coolest shows in the world.
How many people ran around yelling,
Shazam! Oh my God, that was the coolest.
Up and away!
Oh my God, that was the coolest show in the world. And then I forgot about the one show called ISIS, and I should remember this because the girl who played this was a babe, and I was in love with her. Oh, let me play this for you. Hold on.
We can't hear it.
Oh no, I know. I turned it up, and I don't know why it's not really.
It's on a delay. They'll catch it in a second.
Yeah, but I don't know why I had full blast here, and I don't understand why it's not. That's just blowing me away there. I don't know why. So okay. Well, anyways, that one go. Okay, no, we're good. We're good.
I could hear it in the headset.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna play you now the one ISIS. Hold on.
O my queen, said the royal sorcerer to Hatshepsut, with this amulet, you and your descendants are endowed by the goddess Isis with the powers of the animals and the elements. You will soar as the falcon soars, run with the speed of gazelles, and command the elements of sky and earth. 3,000 years later, a young science teacher dug up this lost treasure and found she was heir to the secrets of Isis. And so, unknown to even her closest friends, Rick Mason and Cindy Lee, she became a dual person, Andrea Thomas, teacher,
Almighty Isis.
and Isis, dedicated foe of evil, defender of the weak, champion of truth and justice.
And awesome looking. I'm playing you an episode that's on YouTube right now. You know what the name of this episode is? Bigfoot. No lie. Look.
ISIS fights Bigfoot in the
ISIS
70s.
fights Bigfoot, you guys. Okay, well, anyways, I'm not going to play it. You guys want to watch that? Go to YouTube, type in ISIS, and the episode's Bigfoot. Actually, how I found it was Shazam. You type in Shazam, and you know that particular episode or the show's episodes come up, and then this is ISIS. I just happened to have seen it, and then that episode is Bigfoot, about Bigfoot.
See, they're still saying there's no audio.
What?
Oh, Elizabeth says she hears it. I think it might be a delay or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I hope so. Okay, so yeah, because if I can hear it on here, you should be able to hear it on there.
Should.
Yeah, I don't know why, but okay. So yeah, it's you know, there are a lot of shows back in the days where, you know, we didn't know until now, since we talk about it, but you know, they're trying to give us a little hints, and I've told you guys many times on this show, watch for hints on TV. Dang it, they are there.
And movies.
Trust me.
Like serious. They're getting blatant in movies.
Oh,
nowadays.
they yeah.
What is the title? My wife, in fact, last night we were riding home and talking about it. What was the name of it? Rapture. My wife wants to go watch Rapture. She don't even watch movies, but she wanted to watch Rapture. And then we talked about Left Behind. All that is like the end days stuff, you know, end times. And it almost seems like we're in times, like something's going on. Like what David Paulides even said, in the last 2 years, there's more and more of these weird cases that he could write a book about.
Right.
But that's not just the case. I mean, that's one of many, many things going on around the world that you would think is like making it the end times. You know, I mean,
there was
it's weird.
There was somebody, you know, Facebook is awesome because there are people like us out there all over the place who find great stories, and people who are friends of us put them on my wall or on the Paris. We also have a like page, you guys. Matter of fact, I just liked 4 people. I just brought 4 people in because they wanted to be friends with me. That's awesome. We also have a like page, Paranormal Central. So type that in there and go like that as well. But
that also will come up in the Google search.
yes. Now there was And I
when
found
you
this.
type Paranormal Central,
find it.
you get all of our pages. They all pop up. We're like #1 for the first 5 or 6 search results. So you can't miss us anymore.
Now, did you know that President Obama was in England right now? I think a United Nations UN summit or something like that. Did you know? Now, I don't know if they talked about this on the news because I didn't watch the news the past couple of days. But did they talk about him going to Stonehenge?
No, nobody said anything.
See, that's a trip. I don't understand that. But some pictures were leaked out, and I actually was one of the first to put them on my site. That was leaked out that President Obama with Air Force One helicopter stopped and landed at Stonehenge, and he walked around. And he's actually doing some praying on the ground and doing some ritual. No, just kidding. No, but he actually was walking around. And you know where I'm going with this, right? But he actually said that now he can cross one of his bucket list, goals in life was to actually go to Stonehenge. And that's what he said.
So he goes and visits Stonehenge, and Hillary Clinton is carrying around a book about UFOs.
About aliens, are we alone? I didn't think about that. Yeah.
What's going on with is our government, are they dropping clues, or are they interested in it as much as we are?
Now, when I started doing the Sanger Paranormal Society, for all those who don't know, because there's a lot of new people on tonight, I started paranormal when I was a kid, actually. But in 2001, 2002, I actually started an organization called the Sanger Paranormal Society. We actually go out and look for, Bigfoot, UFOs. We're actually investigators here. That's sort of kind of how we know a lot about the subject that we talk about, because we're not just talk show hosts. We go out in the field. Last night, we went up 2.5 miles, 2.5 hours east of Fresno, up in the mountains where Bigfoots are, and we went to go to one of our sites. Nothing happened. Too bad. Am I going to make something up? No, I'm not, because I'm telling you the truth. Nothing happened that night. Nothing happened.
And we always tell you the truth.
Yes.
Always.
We're not going to make stuff up here.
At least what we know is the truth.
Right. Now, the reason why I started the Sanger Paranormal Society is because some crazy stuff were happening around where we live. First I saw, ghosts. And people were telling me, there's things in my house. What is it? And I just found that fascinating. And then UFOs. People were witnessing weird lights in the skies. I was actually a MUFON investigator. I became a section state director for a couple of years until I quit that organization because some things happened and I did not want to continue my relationship with them, so I moved along.
You should tell them about. Okay, we had a guest last week, and we talked about an experience they had, a UFO experience. Remember?
On the phone, you mean?
No.
Oh, Michael.
Jolene. And she had the ghost experience in the ship, and then she talked about a UFO experience that we talked about on our show a while ago.
Right.
Well, tell them what happened yesterday?
I got a call. Yeah, well, I got a call on Monday or Tuesday. I just forgot to tell you guys about it.
So it was the day after the show.
Yeah, because he was supposed to get me the paper. Well, anyways, Jolene was here.
Interesting,
okay.
Guys.
RJ, who I think is the oldest, was driving on the 99 freeway.
Which was the same one that was with her on the first UFO incident.
Now,
a few years ago.
He told me, and how I found out about this is Jolene actually sent me a message, said, hey, you better talk to Michael RJ. I can never figure out which one's the oldest. I think it's RJ's the oldest because he's driving. That something happened to RJ on the 99 freeway right around Selma, California, which is not too far just south of Fresno. So I called him, or he called me, I don't remember, and we were talking, and he said, okay, this is coming out of his mouth, all right? Now, they're not going to make this stuff up, you guys. But something happened to him really weird on the 99 freeway, and I want to relay what happened to him. I wish he would call me right now and tell me.
Yeah, if you're listening.
RJ, are you
Or
listening?
Jolene.
Or Jolene? Get RJ to call me right now, and tell us what happened to him. You know, I won't tell you right now. Let's wait a couple of minutes. Maybe he can get him to call me. The 287-8367 number. Call me right now, Michael or RJ, if you are listening, or if your mom is listening. Get him to call me right now to tell everybody what happened to you on the 99 freeway, because, wow.
You know what? His story isn't unique.
No.
I've had, like, there's some other people that I know, that I've known for a long time, and they were totally not UFO, they didn't believe anything, Bigfoot, ghosts, shadows, nothing. And then one day they because of what we do, people now approach me and tell me these things, like, wow, are you... They're not afraid to now tell me because they know I'm not going to laugh at it.
Right, same here.
And what happened to RJ, I've heard on the 99 too, like 3 different stories, and only one of them was over the grapevine, and another one was, more like towards Merced. I mean, this isn't like unusual. I mean, we might think it is unusual, but I wonder how many of these types of incidences happen and we don't know.
Right, and then a lot of people have so many stories. I wish one of these days, when we are well known, hope to God that's going to be soon, we're going to be able to get these stories and relay them to you. Now, another bit of information that I found out, because like I said, where I was going with this, the reason why I started doing what I was doing, because there was a lot of stuff that was happening here in the Fresno area. And a article came across the Facebook about a line that cuts across the United States at the 37th degree parallel. All right? And I was going, because, and I'm trying to figure out how that all works. Granted, I'm not into that. 37th, I guess, well, anyways, the 37th degree parallel, a lot of stuff happens to happen on that line of degrees on Earth, on the planet. And whoever wrote this article, he actually happened to be a sheriff's officer who was doing investigating on that degree parallel line, and it just happens to be right in between 38 degrees and 36 degrees. So right.
It's like a highway or 2-lane road.
Yeah, 30. So it's 37.
Between 37 and 30.
And he was able to, the very important sites and locations and built are on that degree line. As a matter of fact, he said, you know what, the Pentagon is on the 38th degree line. Fort Knox, Kentucky is on the 37th degree line. Area 51 is also on the 37th degree line. The spook lights that happen to be in Joplin, Missouri are on the 37th degree line. Athens, Greece happens to be on the 37th degree line.
Egypt.
Okay. Roswell, New Mexico. Dulce, New Mexico,
sure,
36 degrees. Fukushima, Japan, on 37.
Wow.
San Francisco is on the 37. The Grand Canyon is on the 37. Cave locations throughout the United States happen to be on the 36. Mammoth Cave National Park, which is right there, 37. Yosemite National Park is on the 37th.
And that would be where the highest amount of missing people.
Right. Okay. Sanger and Fresno, 36. Yeah. So we lie right there. Madera is 38. Which, we get a lot of sightings. There's a lot of crazy stuff happening in our area that lie on the 37th degree. All right?
If you Google that, it'll bring up all kinds of stuff. If you Google, like weird happenings or paranormal on the 37 or 36.
What I'm going to do right now,
it'll bring up a lot of
is
stuff.
I'm going to share it one more time. It's way down at the very bottom of my Wednesday Facebook.
You might share the Douglas Stingley thing too, because
Okay.
nobody's finding it.
Okay, I will. Let me go find that, and I will share it again. I just shared the 37th degree parallel line information. So right now it should be at the top of my wall. Jeffrey Gonzalez, for all those who want to go and check it out. What I'm going to go ahead and do, and I'm going to go ahead and share once again.
And if you guys want to find me, I'm facebook.com /Sasquatchin. I'm not Alan Thomas. I mean, you can find me on Alan Thomas, but there's a million of them. So I put Sasquatchin, so facebook.com Sasquatchin, and you found me.
Okay, so right now the top article is the Hillary Clinton's ET book is now at the top of my Facebook wall, and the second is the mystery of the 37th parallel line. And Fresno, Yosemite is on the 37th, you guys. All right? So there's something crazy going on right now.
See, and then what happened to RJ is in that also, this 37.
Well, it's portals. I actually this was about 5 years ago. Before I had all this going on, and I was saying a paranormal. I had my 24-hour hotline, and a lady called me. Actually, two people who don't know each other called me within about a 2-week span. This is before I even knew you, Alan, before you came into my life. She says that right around Dakota and Cedar, they were outside in their backyard, and they were looking up at nighttime. And they said the sky opened up, and lights came out.
Whoa.
And the sky closed up again.
Whoa.
All right?
Don't hear that one very
All
often.
right? And then a week later, somebody else called me and told me the same thing.
Wow.
And I just freaked. I went, what the hell? Right? And then, we started getting reports of UFOs left and right. Once my hotline got out there, people started calling me. To this day, I get Fresno Police Department. They call me still at nighttime, whoever's on the night shift, when they see stuff. I remember...
Well, they can't really report it.
Yeah, so they call me. They're not supposed to, but this was about 7 years ago. I got a call from, because the Fresno Yosemite Airport has their own police force, has their own police station on the site. And one night, actually it happened in the morning, when he called me, he said, Jeff, something happened last night at the Fresno Airport. And he actually... Facebook, actually, no, it was right when I got on Facebook, because he actually posted it on my wall. A Fresno police officer did. And he says that it came, it came over the wire, the downtown first, that there were some crazy lights happening southeast of the airport. And they radioed the police officers who were on duty that night, not at the Fresno airport, but around, doing their areas. And they got on the walkie-talkie, and they said, one guy said, I see them, I'm on my way that way, right? And then all of a sudden, the people at the airport, the Fresno PD officers, were running up the tower. And they said they got up to the tower, and they were witnessing these lights doing some crazy maneuvers southeast of... And when you say southeast of the airport, that could be, down in the country on DeWolf or Jensen Avenue, you don't
Selma.
know... Yeah, you don't know, over Sanger, because we get some crazy stuff there. And you don't know how big these lights are, but they said that... they were dispatching police cars headed that way, and the police officers were running up the tower because they wanted to see these lights, and they saw them. Well, a police officer told me all this on Facebook, and he actually spelled it out for me, and I actually talked about it on my show when I first started doing the show, and I think I was on Blog Talk Radio, you guys. That's a long time ago. So crazy stuff is happening. Our credible people are witnessing this stuff. And luckily, he was a friend of mine on Facebook, and which is kind of cool because I was able to get that information and relay it to the 5 people who probably were watching me, back then. So, but there has been a lot of stuff that has happened years ago that I wish I could remember and relay again, because it's not like we just started this 5 weeks ago or a year ago, guys. I've been doing this now going on over 10 years. This particular show.
Heck, I've been at it almost 5.
Yeah,
right in there.
But there has been stuff that has happened to us.
It blows me away that we've been at it that long.
A long time. That I wish I could remember the things that came across my desk and that I just can't remember anymore. But they were so awesome.
I was looking on the computer looking for a show, and I thought I would find it really easy. That's interesting like that. And we have over 200 shows on the hard drive.
Right.
Over 200. I mean, I was there and I was like, man, I need to label these better. Because it's hard to find stuff.
And I bet some of those shows are killer.
Yeah, yeah.
They're like, oh my God, are you kidding me? Like, for example, we had a massive sighting here in Fresno, California, where the jets out of Fresno Air Terminal, who are the 144th Fighter Squad, who are controlled by NORAD, who takes care of the West Coast, all right? That's one of the other reasons why I think Fresno is so important, is they place them here for a specific reason. That I had calls coming in about some weird, objects in the sky. And as a matter of fact, no, it was somebody called me on the west side, all right? And I'm talking like
way out,
west side, all right, in the country.
Not in Fresno.
There was this family who was outside, and they had a bonfire going, right? And it was like the whole family were out just screwing around, and then all of a sudden they see this black ship floating across the vineyards. All right, and they're all freaking out, and they run behind their house. And I remember the dad who was talking to me. He was like this on the side of his house, like this, peeking like this, because they were scared because this thing was huge and it was cruising. And all of a sudden, they said that it dropped these lights out of the bottom, just orbs, and then the orbs took off like this. And then I hear that the jets take off out of the airport. And then my phone started to ring off the hook again. Jeff, the jets are chasing these white lights. So I live in a 2-story house. I run upstairs. I open my curtain. I'm looking north, and I see these white lights moving incredibly fast. And right after them was 2 jets. And these lights just went right over the mountains, and these jets just left them in the dust. And then more calls started to come in. And in that show, that Sunday, I had all those people call in, guys, and they were telling what happened. And I started with the family on the west side and your sister.
Yeah, my sister.
Your sister saw that out of her porch. I remember she came on and she was freaking. And that, you know what? That show is still on there.
Yeah, it is somewhere.
But the problem is to find it out of those 200s.
I'll keep looking, because that's the one I was looking for.
Were you really? Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
If I could remember the date, I think it was around October. So now I'm looking in October.
I wonder. Oh my God! I have. Okay,
we only have like less than 15 minutes. We need to finish since they're not going to call. We have to tell everybody what we were talking about RJ.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I get. They're not listening. Shame on them. RJ was cruising on the 99. I'm not sure if he was going south or north.
Cool.
He said he had his iPod, which could be an iPhone. He was listening to tunes, right? And he was driving, and he remembered he was like the only vehicle that was there was nobody in front and nobody in back. Sometimes when you're driving on the freeway, you happen to be driving, and there's nobody in front of you or in back of you for about a mile or two, right? He said all of a sudden the engine started to shut off on him, and his iPod or his cell phone, whatever he was listening to on his songs, shut down too. And then he said he blanked out, and then everything turned back on, and he was driving again. but he wasn't at the same place where all this happened. He said he is now back where he started from, and I'm not sure exactly how far back where he started from, but he said he lost some time. And I went, what? And I said, dude, what you got to do is you have to, on a piece of paper, write down exactly where you were at, and then when you came out of it, where you were at that time.
Yeah, like put it on a map.
Yeah, because I want to
here's
know.
Where the engine started dying, and then here's where I came to, and so that we could have that. Man, I got so excited when I heard that, because Jolene and that son were driving. I think it was 99 again, and they told this story last week that the UFO is going across the freeway, and then it stopped right above the freeway and turned. So now they have 2 UFO things. And when you miss time, like the one I was talking about, the girl was on. She was on the Grapevine. Her car started messing up, and then she woke up. Right, the last thing she remembers is waking up. Like, her car started messing up, and then she woke up not even somewhere near Barstow. Okay, Barstow, California. And her car was sitting off the side of the road, and then she woke up, and she doesn't know how she got from the Grapevine to Barstow. I mean, that is like, I hear these kind of stories all the time, so his isn't like unique, but man, I wonder what happened.
Right now, what I'm trying to find, you guys, because I'm on a roll and I'm excited. An incident happened. Show my picture. I can't. What picture are you talking about? Hold on.
Like the outskirts of the country.
Oh!
Can you tell me what that was?
Oh! I found it. All right. I know. I'm like a little kid. In the year right around June 12th, I got a call that came in near Reedley.
Oh, I remember that.
Okay.
One.
And a guy called me on my 24. Yes, a guy called me on my 24-hour hotline and said, Jeff, we were driving. It's during the summer, and what a lot of people down here do, hopefully I can do this within 9 minutes, that they like to go tubing down the Kings River to Reedley Beach. And for all those who you guys are listening and you guys know exactly what I'm talking about, well, what they wanted to do the night before, they wanted to go down there to make sure it was open, because the next day they were going to go out and go down and inner tubing. Well, as they were going down there, they all of a sudden saw CHP and sheriff's officers just going all over the place out in the country near Flapjack, I think the name of the street is. And then all of a sudden, they're looking, and all of a sudden they see this craft hovering over the grape fields, right? So they're tripping out, and they're seeing this thing. It's not making any noise, and it's just hovering, and there's CHP officers and sheriffs just like trying to follow this thing and driving around it. So they said, and they came up, and then the CHP blocked off one of the streets. They said, no, you can't go this way. So they said, okay, so what happened is they drove back to Reedley to the Jack in the Box near Reedley College, and a Reedley police officer followed them and parked sort of kind of like in front of them, but in another parking space, like he was checking them out. And he called me, and he was there. And I said, dude, go to the police officer and ask him what they were chasing out there. So he walks over there, and he still has me on the phone, right? And I hear him ask the police officer, hey, I need to go this way on a certain street. And then I could hear the officer say, oh, no, you can't go that way. And he goes, why? Well, we're chasing something right now. And he says, oh, okay. So, and I heard him say that, chase something. So he told me this, and he says, hey, I can't go down there right now. I can't. And then he got all the information. So what I did is I called the police department, and I actually recorded the conversation that I had with the dispatch. I'm going to let you guys hear it. All right? Watch this. Watch this. Well, if I plug it in here, Is it going? There it is. There it is. Right now, they got me on hold.
They put me on hold.
All right. Can you guys hear that?
Can you hear it beeping?
Watch. Listen.
Whoa.
Sorry.
You must have dropped the phone.
No, I hired the volume on it.
Oh.
Okay, listen.
Broke the sound barrier.
Keep listening, you guys. Shh. What happened, they asked me if it was an emergency, and I said no, so they put me on hold.
We only got like 7
Thank you
minutes.
for holding. How can I help you?
Hi there. I was out near Manning Avenue about an hour and a half ago, and I noticed the California Highway Patrol sheriffs and you guys were chasing something over, like, the outskirts of the country. Could you tell me what that was?
We cannot release that information unless it's in a press release, sir.
Well,
I have not received one, so I cannot release any information.
But your police officer did tell us that you guys were chasing something.
Okay, hold on just a minute.
Now listen. You want to tell him? Now watch.
Hi, Corporal. My name is Jeffrey. I was a witness to your officers and the
I'm lying out of my butt right now, you guys.
chasing something about an hour and a half ago over the countryside near Manning. And it wasn't a helicopter and it wasn't an airplane. And one of your officers said, you guys basically said to us, you guys were chasing something. What were you guys chasing?
You said it was Ridley PD?
Oh, yeah, Ridley PD was involved.
Where was this at?
It was out near Manning. And I know you guys were involved because we talked to one of your officers.
Manning and what?
Manning and
I forgot the street name.
I don't
It's
remember the
Blackjack.
street, but
Blackjack.
we pulled into the Jack in the Box, and one of your officers basically told us that you guys were chasing something and not to go out that way. And the sheriff's officers and California Highway Patrol were all over the place. And I just wanted to know.
We weren't chasing anybody. We were waiting to see if a car was coming into town. It was Parlor PD had a case on a violent subject in a vehicle.
So what was flying over the skies then at low altitude?
At what time was this?
Same time you guys.
I didn't see it when we were out there waiting. I didn't see a helicopter.
Boom. Okay, right there. I'm gonna stop. Okay. Did you hear what he said? He goes. We didn't see it. We didn't. And then he cleared his throat because he screwed up. He goes, we didn't see it. He goes, oh well, I didn't see it. You know what I'm saying? So I caught him on a lie. So it was something that they were chasing. What they were chasing, I will never know. But this is the stuff that happens here all the time in the outskirts. You know, we have black vehicles, Crown Vics, chasing UFOs, the whole 9 yards. It's pretty crazy. And that's why I'm doing this, you guys. Okay, I think we got 3.5 minutes left to go. So in about 1 minute, we're going to go ahead and hit the music, and we're going to get out of here. Next week's show is going to be interesting. I have Steve Pierce from one of the loggers who was at the location with Travis Walton when that UFO abducted him. He's going to come on. I am going to have the last interview he will ever do in his life, you guys. He is going to be on our show next week. And we have a couple of books that we're going to give away that doesn't have anything to do with Fire in the Sky, but is about his personal experiences that he's been having. I wonder, it's probably because after the incident that occurred. But he doesn't want to talk about his book. He wants to talk about Fire in the Sky. So go figure. So this is going to be a real cool show next week. Hopefully I can try to get out him what's about the book, but I'm going to be giving away 2 books. And I got the last 3 books because he only made 50 books, you guys. All right.
Yeah,
That's it.
I want to say thanks to Keith over at Dark Matter Radio Network. It's actually a real thrill to be on the Dark Matter Radio Network.
Big time. So
we love you guys over there, Keith. You guys are great, awesome. It was fun, like kicking it 1 more hour even.
Right on. It looks like we've been given the go-ahead to do a 3-hour show from now on. We'll start doing that when we move to our new studio, but we're going to start doing 3 hours. All right, you guys, thank you for showing up tonight. It's
3
been great.
hours.
We will see you again next week. It's going to be one of those other shows that you cannot miss. So tell everybody to tune in next week. For Jeffrey Gonzalez and Alan Thomas and Emerald, we want to thank you. Have a good night. We'll see you next week. Peace
Good
out.
night, you guys.
You have been listening
Peace
to
out.
Paranormal Central with Jeffrey Gonzalez and Alan Thomas, broadcasting worldwide at paranormalcentral.net and on artbell.com. Stay tuned for next time. Remember to keep your eyes to the skies, and we hope you witness something you cannot explain.
Looking for you, you're looking for me. We have to decide what it will be. Can it be true? Can I believe the unexplained? Look into the sky. Train